wasn't supposed to do it twice. You know, I wasn't supposed to do it twice, but it did it twice. Fucking program. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crucible. I'm your host, Andrew Wilson. Tonight, we've got an excellent debate for you. There was a bunch of background noise because the pellet stove's going because it's like negative 15 degrees in a blizzard. But I don't give a shit. We're going to do a debate anyway because we can. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff that you're supposed to do. Also consider becoming a channel member. You can also give the gift of a channel membership to one of the Crucible chat members in need. You don't get access to all the awesome emojis unless you're a channel member. And we know that you like throwing tomatoes and cans of tomato soup and all that other cool shit that's there. So just consider the fact that you can give out a membership this holiday season. Tomorrow is the part 3 and last part of the Crucible Christmas special. Tonight, we're going to be going at it over whether or not conservatives should be supporting Kanye and then the greater path to victory for the Republicans. Looking forward to this debate very much. Vegan Stain says, why would I waste some money on something I can watch for free? You shouldn't. Ban that cocksucker from the chat just for being a fuckhead. We'll be right back with both of our debaters. We're back. Thank you guys so much for coming out this fine evening to have this debate. AircraftSparky, why don't you take a second, tell everybody where they can find you, and just very briefly a little bit about what you're about.
All right, thank you so much there, Andrew. I am AircraftSparky. I'm a Afghanistan and Iraq combat vet. Served in the Air Force and U.S. Army. You can find me at youtube.com/AircraftSparky, twitch.tv/AircraftSparky, rumble.com/AircraftSparky, and of course over at comfy.stream. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I put the message out as much as I can. I am a Christian, I am a conservative, and I am a constitutionalist. Bring all those together, add a little populism. That's what I'm about. I like to review news, talk about what's going on, and yeah, that's about it. We're going to have a good time tonight. Looking forward to this debate. Thank you, Andrew, and of course, thank you, Hake, for coming to this debate tonight.
And James Hake, nice to see you back on the Crucible. How you been, man?
I've been well. Long time no see. Appreciate you hanging in there for however many months that it took for me to finally come back. It was since the beginning of August. I appreciate you, AircraftSparky. Nice to meet you, man. Those of you who don't know, I'm James Hake, host of the Hake Report, live Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time. Right after the Jesse Lee Peterson show, I was his producer for a few years, and I still put out online content for his church services. So I'm still involved with Bond, his nonprofit organization.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much again. We're going to get this thing moving. Both of you will have 7 minutes for your opening statement. We discussed briefly the topic behind the scenes here. AircraftSparky is going to go first. Aircraft, you have 7 minutes on the clock. Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you so much. So the main question before us tonight is, should conservatives take Kanye West seriously or support Kanye West? So look, let's dive back into the annals of history, exactly who Kanye West is. He was a hip hop artist. He put out a lot of secular music. He hit the top of the charts. And well, then Katrina happened, where he famously said George Bush hates black people. And then we moved towards the Video Music Awards when Tay Swift won Video of the Year. And hey, I'm gonna let you talk, but Beyonce Knowles had the best video of the year. Green screen problems. And then on top of that, we've recently see he showed up on InfoWars where he said things like, "Hey, I like the Nazis. I like Hitler." And look, I'm not going to sit there and say everything that he has done in his life is bad, but when we look at overall what Kanye West has done, we have to judge a man not only by his words, but we also have to look at his actions. And his actions show a mentally unstable person. And if he wants to run for president and wants to be taken seriously, one has to act seriously himself. Look, the man has put out some amazing music in his time. Okay, fine, fair. However, on the world stage, you have to carry yourself with a certain bit of dignity in order to gain respect. Respect is earned, not given. And unfortunately for Kanye, his past actions make that damn near impossible. So with that, I'll turn that back over to Andrew. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what Hake has to say.
So it got so fucking cold down here that the green screen fell down, right? But who cares? I got a nice brick wall behind it anyway. So go ahead whenever you're ready, Hake.
I appreciate it. People are, in my opinion, overreacting to Kanye's words, I notice. And that's an epidemic that we've seen for ever since I've been aware of politics, which has been about 10 years, or maybe a little bit more. I got more into politics from listening to the Jesse Lee Peterson show since like 2008, maybe. So overreaction to words. He said stuff that some of it may be true, some of it may not be true. Some of it may have been spoken in anger, some of it may have been spoken in love. I don't know. I do see him as this is Kanye West. I call him Kanye West still. I know he said that that's his slave name. He told the great Chris Cuomo of News Nation, no longer CNN, that is his slave name, and he goes by Ye, and please respect that. And I respect him, and I respect the slave name, and I think that there is dignity in slavery. There's dignity in the person. Anyway, he may be one to go off half-cocked. I didn't used to appreciate him saying that George W. Bush, doesn't care about black people during the Hurricane Katrina thing. I was like, oh, please, the Hurricane Katrina, the blacks down in New Orleans, blacks tend to get themselves in trouble, you know, especially when they are treated as though they're victims in those cases, you know. And then Taylor Swift, I didn't appreciate him interrupting Taylor Swift. She was just this cute, nice country music singer. And he interrupted her. And then he seemed to have like an interesting banter with her over the years, though. And so they developed somewhat of a nice relationship, partly perhaps because he's such a real guy. He's honest. He speaks his mind. And that is one thing that I've come to really appreciate him. And of course, I now appreciate him interrupting Taylor Swift because she went off half-cocked on Instagram in 2018 talking about Tennessee values, supporting LGBT madness and all this degenerate stuff. So she's no longer the Aryan princess that we once thought she was, because she was not talking about politics. And it was just so classy that she didn't talk about politics, but then she got pressured into it somehow. I'm just kidding about the Aryan princess thing. I love that he is going around with Nick J. Fuentes. You know, he's your competitor, I guess. Cozy.tv streamer. Because that guy
never heard of the guy.
Oh, okay. Well, he seems like a upstanding guy. He did AFPAC 1, 2, and 3, which is a America First Political Action Conference. A lot of energy, young guys, and he's Catholic, but we still like him. I think he's still overall Christian in his values. And as far as Zoomers go, I don't know if I know a better young man for Kanye to be hanging around. And I like how he's just stayed kind of quiet and humble while Kanye speaks his mind. So I think I kind of like the friends that he's keeping somewhat. Kanye West. I appreciate that he supported our greatest president, Donald J. Trump. I don't know if he's still continuing to support him. I know that he accused Trump of lying on him. And whatever. Men have disagreements, or guys have disagreements, and they speak ill of one another sometimes, and it's not necessarily personal. And it's not necessarily, you don't have to take sides necessarily. So I really like what Kanye is pushing in terms of morality. I did not appreciate a few years ago, even after he'd been doing the Sunday services, I think, he was still going on, like, he went on one late night show and said, we need, oh no, he didn't say we need. He said that he's still into a particular type of pornography, and I won't say what it was. And so I'm like, oh, come on. But, I cut him slack because he grew up a worldly guy. He was in the rap world. And even way back in the early 2000s, he sang that, he rapped that song, I don't think you sing a rap, We Need Jesus. And so people were saying, oh, he's saying we need Jesus, but he's still degenerate. But over the progression of his life, he seemed to drop his degeneracy, just as Trump seems to have done, in that they no longer revel in their wrongdoing. They no longer brag about cheating and all that stuff. Kanye doesn't even like pornography anymore. He's denounced it. And I think he's denounced sex out of wedlock. I'm not sure. And he's said, yes, that he loves Hitler and Nazis. I don't know how much time I have, but he said that nobody should be killing. We should be loving everybody. And when he names stuff that he loves about the Hitler and Nazis, it's similar stuff to what I hear from these guys who are so-called Nazi sympathizers, who push for Christianity, push for not hating whites. They may go a little overboard, perhaps, in blaming Jews or criticizing Jewish people really harshly, but those people are, if anything, overprotected from criticism to a point where it's not healthy for anybody. Healthy, maybe a liberal word. So I think that he's pushing that Overton window opening up. He has perhaps the spirit of the freedom of speech. I know that he shut down at one time when he got challenged, and he's like sick of the challenge. So he may lack patience. He may still have some anger in him, Kanye West. But I appreciate what he's doing, and I think we should support it. I don't necessarily support him for president. I don't think he's ready. I support President Trump for 2024. But I like what he's been doing on the whole. I haven't watched everything, but I like the direction that he's gone, for sure. And I think conservatives should support him in that.
Gotcha. Thank you for that opening statement. Gentlemen, going to open the floor up, but before I do, make sure, once again, like, share, subscribe. All the newcomers who came in, you can give the gift of a Crucible channel membership this holiday season. We're still a couple of days away from Christmas. If you want to do that, you're welcome to. With that, we're going to open up the floor. Gentlemen, go ahead.
All right. So you were you were saying that we should support Kanye, the individual, not necessarily the potential presidential candidate. As
Correct.
of this point, Kanye West still has not filed with the FEC to claim his actual run for presidency. He has done a lot of social media tours, appearing with Alex Jones. God, he's been on several shows lately, and you know, I get the idea of getting away from pornography. You're not going to see me defend pornography in the least bit. I'm a Christian. I believe that you shouldn't lust after other people, and that's really all pornography is.
Mm-hmm.
So we can agree there. There's nothing wrong with that. However, we have to look at the man's actions, not just his rhetoric. And his actions are, he has a 14-year-old daughter, I believe her name is Northwest, who appeared wearing Balenciaga masks in public. He himself has been wearing a Balenciaga mask in public. In fact, his jacket, his entire Ye 24 brand of clothing is all Balenciaga. And well, I'm sure you're aware of the controversy associated with that brand. Are you? You do know what's going on with that, right?
Yeah, I know that they posted on Instagram a kids holding like teddy bear, little monster, stuffed monsters with that BDSM stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that one of their designers had a photograph of herself in like this red shiny thing with baby doll things with like red paint all over them. Pretty disgusting stuff.
Yes, and of course, yes, President Camacho. That's what I'm talking about. We don't need money. We'll just print enough. Yeah. The problem is the poors, and the way we can solve that is by giving everyone money. Camacho 2024, Mountain Dew, Camacho Mountain Dew. Yes, but no. Let's so here's my problem. Hey, let's go down to
is that wait? Let me interrupt briefly. Was that his fault that his daughter was wearing the Balenciaga stuff? Was it vulgar? Was it a vulgar outfit that she was wearing? Mask?
It's not that it was vulgar, but this is after the exposure with the pushing for child pornography and things like that. And she appeared in public dressed that way. And yes, it was not necessarily he was the one with her at that moment, but he's still the father who is the head of the family, the spiritual head of the family. Even though they are going through a divorce right now, he holds responsibility over how his children represent themselves in public. Would you agree?
I would, although I don't know whether he approves of that necessarily. Because I know that he's had beef with Kim, the children's
he has had
mother,
beef. He has had
over
beef with Kim, and we can get to her in a little bit. But
he doesn't like them being on social media. Period. The children. I think.
I kind of agree with that. Look,
yeah.
I'm not saying everything he does is wrong and or bad, but when we look at his actions, the fact that he is tailoring himself in these clothes that are associated with unspeakable crimes against children, potential sex trafficking and everything else, support for abortion and everything else. This is supposedly a Christian man, and he is representing a fashion brand by wearing their clothes out on stage for his performances, and that's all they are right now. His media blitz is nothing but a performance, in my opinion. I believe he is performing a minstrel show, and you cannot. I don't think any person with any sense of morality can support an individual who will sit there and pimp his own children out, marry a. Well, no, we'll get to that. We'll get to her. But he himself will wear these clothes, and he even wears a mask, a GIMP mask, which has BDSM implications there. And maybe that's some type of artistic statement, trying to give the most generous interpretation of why he is doing all this. You still can't excuse it. You have to judge a person by their words and their actions, and I do believe actions speak louder than words. And I can't support someone who will openly pay overly priced clothes with the exploitation of children. I just can't do it. How do you square that circle, Hake?
I don't see the Balenciaga, him wearing the Balenciaga clothes, his children wearing those. I don't know the situation, so I neither excuse it nor condemn it.
Okay, so what is your interpretation?
I don't
Would
have an
you yourself wear Balenciaga clothes, knowing the controversy surrounded them?
No, not if I didn't already have them. You know,
Okay,
like
okay.
Nike. A lot of us have Nike clothes, and Nike has disappointed us in pretty disgusting ways, perhaps more broadly harmful than Balenciaga. Not that you want to compare evil. Evil is evil, so I get that. But I don't know. Does he have some sort of deal with Balenciaga? I don't want to get too carried away with this topic.
So he does. He does actually have business dealings with Balenciaga. So does Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian West. I don't know. I don't think she's dropped the name yet.
Yeah, she
But
should be Kim
yeah,
West. But anyway.
yeah. I fully agree there. But look, they are economically entwined with this company, and things like this. We see it, and we've got to question. You know, you were someone that talks about love on your channel. You know, and the teachings of Jesus Christ that Jesus talked about love. We are supposed to love the sinner, not the sin. In fact, we're supposed to detest the sin. And things, there are certain things that are just unforgivable. I think we can agree on there. Things like blasphemy and such. Now, it doesn't state in the Bible that we should condemn someone for harming children to eternal damnation and hellfire. However, I think here on this ethereal plane, I think we should condemn people who knowingly support groups that engage in these actions. Would you agree there?
To me, this is like a stretch to judge Kanye as pimping out his children, as you said, and
Mm-hmm.
and like advertising Balenciaga and promoting its sexuality nature, exploiting children type stuff. When I see that mask, it's ugly. It is. It does have that feeling of this weird sort of sexual thing. That mask that he wears.
Mm-hmm.
But but I don't see him as seeing it that way, because nothing about him in his performances, as you call them, is sexual. And that big
No, they're not
jacket and all that,
sexual.
it's not sexual. It's not promoting the children stuff. He's speaking all against it. So I don't see
If I
that as a
can,
big point.
if I can just briefly interject,
Mhm.
did both of you guys see the pictures that were released on the Balenciaga scandal?
Yes, and
Did
the
you see them,
convenient
Hake, as
placement.
well?
I saw one photo of two kids. Maybe it was a split screen photo. One little like redheaded girl or something, and then one little maybe girl, maybe boy. I'm not sure. You can't tell nowadays what they do to these kids. We're holding dolls. That's all I saw. And then the other
Okay.
one that I mentioned that is not their ad, but it's their designer or one of the designer women or something like that.
Okay, and you saw that the teddy bear was in a BDSM suit that the kid was holding.
Right.
Yeah, there was an
There was
expo.
also the SCOTUS decision about CP that was placed to these ads, and they were small. It's
Oh
something
yeah,
unless
I
you
heard
zoomed
about
in
that.
on it, you could see that.
Yeah.
And there's another Balenciaga photo where there's a model with her feet up on a desk, and in the background you can actually see a book by an author that is pro pedophilia. So um, it is maybe not necessarily artistic decisions by the company itself, but by the individual who they hired to stage these photos. Um, but the fact that they hired this individual and this individual has a very storied past. In fact, he has basically come out and admitted that they are pedophiles.
Is that Demna?
Um, Pardon?
Is that Demna, or is that not
Uh,
Demna? People have thrown out that name as like a designer
so
who's with them.
so the names I don't
I was just
remember
curious.
right off the bat. Yeah, there's
It's not
two
important.
designers who work with Balenciaga and a photographer that on Instagram has stated that they are going to have some odd takes because of their background and the fact that they have worked as exploit children and stuff like that. But continuation of the sin is nothing to excuse. once you become an adult and you are responsible for your own actions. I mean, that's where I'm at. I'm all about personal accountability. And
So do you support anything that Kanye is doing?
I support his music. I look, some of his Christian music that he has put out is not bad. I believe that he is an infant in his faith, and I believe that he should learn a little bit before he tries to proselytize. But if he, it takes a while, Andrew. And I think you can agree with this, for someone to grow in their faith, for them to live their faith properly. It's not something you do overnight. When you accept Jesus Christ into your heart, when you become saved, there is a change, but the old sin that is in your body, it may be absolved, but some of those old habits are hard to break, and you have to have the discipline to work past that. And I think Kanye is working towards that. He is trying to grow. But I think he is in his infancy in that matter, and he should probably try a little bit less of the preaching and try more walking the path before telling others how to walk.
I support his freedom of speech for sure. I get what you mean about his, perhaps maybe he's immature. He does seem, like I said, to lose patience sometimes, and he may be going off about it in the wrong way at times. But overall, I totally support him. I don't see. Did they sever ties with him with this Balenciaga thing, just to close that out? Did they sever ties with him, and now he's just wearing this stuff to call attention at them? Or
So Balenciaga has officially cut ties with him professionally. However, they are still entangled with Kim Kardashian West. And
they cut ties with him because they think he's the immoral one.
Yes, because he said something like, he likes Hitler and he loves the Nazis.
Going DEFCON 3 on those poor Jewish people.
I mean, yeah, that was a dumb move that really hurt him financially. But hey, I believe in freedom of speech.
Yeah.
It's not a question that he is not allowed to speak. The question before us is, should conservatives support Kanye? If you're a conservative, I believe that you have to take into account not just the rhetoric, but also the actions of the individual. And if you follow down that logic tree, I don't see how anyone can. So, Hake, please take me down this road. How do you support Kanye, and what brings you to that conclusion, sir?
Well, I've liked over the years seeing him start to break out of that typical mainstream brainwashed black mentality. In short, I've liked how basically for all time he's kind of like a Donald Trump to me, in that for all time he's always spoken his mind. He was raised basically a dumb liberal into his world of blackness and hip hop and degeneracy, and yet he's started to go more towards loving his father, whereas his mother turned him away from his father. He said in a Tucker interview, I believe, and he's gone more and more towards Christianity. So his past really doesn't matter to me. The Balenciaga thing, to me, it's like a question mark, or it's a moot point. It's not my concern. It's like he wants to represent himself that way. I'm not a mind reader, you know? It's not like he's promoting sexualization of children, you know? So to me, that's a spurious connection. And then
do you know what a GIMP is?
I know what the normal word of GIMP means. You can't hardly play sports or something like that, or you're injured.
No.
I'm not.
So
I'd rather not
in the degeneracy
world, but I'll
okay.
humor you, I guess.
In the world of degeneracy, what a GIMP is basically a form of a slave, someone who gets cucked on the regular, things like that. They are, and this is the type of mask of which he wears, and he's wearing this out in public. Now, Could this be some artsy statement about how he is being cucked? But what self-respecting man would do that? What self-respecting man would come out and publicly show the world that he is made to be someone else's bitch? And pardon my French.
No, you're
I
fine.
understand that you.
No,
that
don't
you
worry
are,
about it. I just protect the
well,
kids on my show.
Yeah.
And the
So,
parents. Don't worry
yeah.
about it.
I'm-
And actually, JLP says that word because he wasn't like, I think feminism turned that word into a bad word. Kind of like the N word didn't always used to be so bad. So go ahead.
So I look at this and I see the actions of this man. And if you want to talk about looking up to someone as a role model, okay, you are a fan of Jesse Lee Peterson who stands up to the establishment. Is that a good characterization of one of the reasons why you support him?
That's a plus. That's not one of the reasons why I support him.
Okay.
But that is a plus.
Okay. So why do you support Jesse Lee Peterson?
I first came to his church because he has this no excuses mindset about oneself, about sin, about you can overcome, you can be perfect, you can be a Christian, you are wrong, you need to forgive, it comes down to you, responsibility, and he's a living example of that. So that's why I support him.
So is Kanye West living those same values?
I see him as trying to overall.
Okay.
He is blaming the Jews
fine.
a little bit, maybe, perhaps too much, maybe. But I do like how he's holding them, like his message about it is, I'm holding them responsible. They've gotten away with it so long, they're used to getting away with it. Now they're overreacting. And by the way, with his losing things, I'm interrupting and I'm going kind of long. But with his losing financial things and all that stuff, he said, God is stripping me of everything that I have. So I'm just a man, is basically the message that I'm gleaning from what he's saying.
Okay.
And, I studied art in college. I went to a Christian college. They're a bunch of liberals. And they have this weird thing. And Kanye's always been an artsy, sort of weird guy. And with this mask saying, and I don't know what the message is, but I could surmise that when I saw him on the InfoWars wearing that thing, that maybe the first time that he wore that I saw. Mm-hmm. He said something to the effect, or maybe I'm misremembering it, but the message that I took from it, without knowing anything about the nature of the mask, was that it's not about me, it's about the message. Forget about me. Don't look at me. You don't even know if I'm here or not. You don't even know if it's really me. So he's kind of trying to be humble, maybe.
Okay, you know what? I have not considered that perspective. So let's go down that track for just a moment.
Okay.
Let's remove the person and let's talk about the rhetoric.
All right.
Is rhetoric solid?
Overall, I would say it's solid. Most of what he's saying seems true. When he says that he's a Jew or a black Hebrew Israelite or whatever, I don't necessarily believe it. When he makes assertions about the Holocaust, I have no idea, nor do I care, honestly. Okay. But other than that, what he's saying is true. Like he's saying Jewish people, a bunch of liberals, and they're pushing degeneracy. That's factual. They're not the only ones, definitely. They shouldn't be uniquely blamed, but they should share in the responsibility. And good for him for saying that. So
is it secular Jews or is it non-secular Jews that he is referring to? Or is it all?
Yeah, I would. He lumps them all together. That made me chuckle. That made me chuckle. I don't care.
As well?
What's that?
Do you believe the same? A Jew is a Jew is a Jew. Is it all the same?
No, I mean all people are evil, but different ones are push worse things than others. Like a Ben Shapiro may accuse him of anti-Semitism, which I think is unfair, but a Ben Shapiro is not the one pushing the sexual degeneracy, for example. So
Okay.
they're not all the same. And I think
Now,
honestly he knows that. So
okay.
yeah.
Well, so when I look at his rhetoric, when I hear him talk about, I like the Nazis, I like Hitler. Take the Jewish portion, the Holocaust out of it. And he touts things like the Third Reich had something to do with the development of what we would call the modern day interstate system through the development of the Autobahn.
Oh, okay.
When he
Yeah.
said that he developed modern highway, that they developed modern highways. That's what he's referring to, is
Yeah.
the development of the Autobahn, which gave birth to, in America, the interstate highway system. Hitler didn't do that. He supported projects that did that. Okay, but we can go ahead and credit the Third Reich, I guess, with that. He also talks about how they improved the modern microphone in which he uses for recording. He's referring to ribbon mics. Okay, fine, fair. We would not have landed on the moon had it not been for the technology that came out of the Third Reich during Operation Paperclip, where we took a lot of Nazi scientists and we brought them over here to America. This is the kind of things that, yes, there was revolutionary stuff that came out of World War II. However, you can look at all these supposedly good things, but we also have to look at the other things that was done by the same regime. We have to look at the human experimentation that was done. We have to look at, and all this stuff has been well documented. We have to look at the labor camps, the concentration camps that were set up. And if we look at it as a whole, it makes you, can you actually sit there and straight face say, yes, we should support this because of these few good things, and we're going to overlook the 6 million that have been estimated to have been killed in the Holocaust. We have to overlook the fact that not only Jewish people, but Poles, Gypsies, people who were targeted for their sexuality. And look, I'm not a supporter of the LGBT, but I also don't believe that we should be putting them into forced labor camps and killing them off. I believe we should be pointing out to them the errors of their ways and try to push them towards a more wholesome and moral lifestyle. There's a lot of bad that happened, and you can't just overlook that. There's a saying: you can spend an entire lifetime building bridges, and you may be known as a bridge builder, but you put one pecker in your mouth, and you're forever going to be known as a cocksucker. and so here's the deal. Really, what that boils down to is,
where are you from?
A world full of good. I'm from the South.
Okay, the beautiful South.
You can do a world of good, but if you make one public mistake, that is what follows you.
Right.
So when you look at things like his statement of, oh, I like Hitler, either he is completely ignorant of what happened during the time of the Third Reich, which I'm pretty sure he's well aware, or he is trying to, in the best interpretation, try to do things, hate the sin, not the sinner, or love the sinner, not the sin, which is kind of a Christian value. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, but all at the same time, we still have to hold individuals accountable, because if we are Christians, then we also believe that God gave man the right to choose their own lifestyle, their own path. It was given the direction in which to go, but if you steer away from that, that is still your choice, free will. Would you agree?
Responsibility, for sure. I don't know if I believe in free will, but that's a different topic. But responsibility, I get what you're saying, for sure. Now, but there is no holding Nazis responsible. I mean, I do see headlines every now and then. There's these decrepit old ladies, the secretary of some Nazi general held complicit in the murder of 10,000 people. I saw some headline recently from like Yahoo News or something. But then Nazis, like, we need to hold people responsible today and hold ourselves responsible. And Kanye, far be it from me to be a Holocaust denier, But Kanye doesn't believe that that stuff happened. He believes it was 250,000, not 6 million, which I, of course, disavow. But he's like, he says nobody should be killing. So your point is really moot. Like, he says we should be showing love. He's not, I defy you to find him defending Joseph Mengelé's actions or reported actions, which I believe they probably were what he did. So that stuff is irrelevant. The Nazis, I heard from the modern day Nazi sympathizers, that they were burning degenerate books and they were for getting rid of the pornography and all that stuff. They may have gone too far with things. I believe they did, of course. But they were fighting for their country, you know, and he likes that aspect of them. He has never endorsed the wrongdoing that they did towards Jewish people. He liked that they opposed the wrongdoing of, I guess, those Jewish people back then. I don't know what was really going on back then. But he's maybe, in my mind, he sees a parallel of what's going on today to back then.
Okay.
So it's not, so anyway.
This is getting way off into the weeds about shit that I don't care about. Let's keep it focused on West himself.
Yeah.
I don't want to try to relitigate shit that happened 90 years ago. Let's focus on West and what's going on currently. I understand you have to make a reference to, because he said all the Hitler comments and shit like that, but we're not going to get hung up on that.
But bringing it back, Hake.
Okay.
As I mentioned before, he is still an infant in his Christian life. He still has a lot to learn. Do you take the advice of infants?
Sometimes. I mean, anybody can really tell you the truth about yourself. Like my enemies, if you will say some things about me, and sometimes my friends, that sting, and it's true. It matters whether it's true or not. And what he says overall is true. So I don't really see him as an infant or not infant in his Christian life. That's not how I look at him. It's not how I look at people.
So I would argue that he's an infant in just life, period.
Yeah.
I mean, for Christ's sakes, he married a woman who would not actually give birth to his own children. All of his children were born of surrogates. And considering that his wife is someone who was famous.
Wait, is that true?
That is true.
She was never pregnant?
She has never birthed any of his kids.
Are you serious? Really?
Hand to God. So
did you know that?
I did not know. I don't know if I knew that.
We were talking about a man.
I better hear a fucking disavow out of that one.
It's his past.
We are talking about a man who married a woman who is famous for putting herself out in pornography by sleeping with people like Reggie Bush and stuff. She is not famous for anything else. She has not given birth to any of her children, would not give birth to his own children, has demanded, $200,000 a month in child support, which he graciously agreed with immediately. By the way, this woman is a billionaire. And look, wealth is not a sin. It really isn't. Now, how you get it, that's a different animal. But being wealthy itself is not a sin. But when we look at all of his actions, he even said, I believe on Alex Jones's InfoWars, he stated that he is basically a child. He doesn't understand how things are because when he became famous, he had people handle everything for him. He's just now learning how to be an adult.
He said that on Tim Pool too.
Yes, when we see these kind of things going on, and now this man is considering running for president. Now he hasn't filed, okay? But you cannot sit there and take this individual seriously when this individual doesn't even know how to live as a person in this world. He has had someone handle everything. He wasn't even man enough to marry a woman who would bear his own children.
I know, but you were raised better than him. You were raised a Southern Christian man.
Peterson would say this man is a beta.
He definitely was, and he probably still is a little bit. But so what? You know, that's his past. I think he said that he would wouldn't marry Kim today if he had known better, but now he's married to her. I mean, he's stuck with her. I don't know if
Well, they're going through a
that
divorce
divorce is
right
real.
now. I don't believe it's final yet, but I mean, currently, I believe he is still married to her. But your mistakes in your past are not forgotten, and he has made several mistakes. We all have.
But they're
We
forgotten by
fall short
Christians
of
like
the glory
us.
of God.
Like we don't
Mhm.
care. Like you made a comment that the one thing you do wrong, despite all the good things you do, the one thing you do wrong sticks with you. That's the way of the world. That's not the way of you and me as Christians, as conservatives. We
If
take
you're
men
talking
as they
about in
are
leadership
now.
positions, I will,
We take men as they
because
are now.
uh, I will hold everything accountable when it comes to someone who wants to be in a leadership style position.
Did you support Trump?
I supported Trump, and I have recently rescinded my support for Trump
Why?
because he has spoken out against the Constitution. He stated that we needed to suspend portions of the Constitution because he believes that he did not lose the election. I understand his argument. However, I'm a vet. I raised my hand, swore to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and or domestic. And we had one tyrant already that did that. And hot take: John Wilkes Booth did nothing wrong.
Interesting. I think he did something wrong. Come on.
He
We don't.
assassinated a tyrant. That's what happens to tyrants.
Well, he perhaps Lincoln got live by the sword, die by the sword type of thing. But anyway, that's a separate debate. And very interesting, man. But in my opinion, I think you're taking it his comments about that in a way that he doesn't even mean. But we're not arguing about Trump. We're arguing about Kanye.
No. We're not arguing about Trump, but we'll actually get there when we get to the future of the Republican Party. I'm certain. The question is,
I think you'll come back around to Trump when the time comes. But anyway,
we'll
go ahead.
See. We'll see. But
you seem like a sensible man.
That bridge is torched pretty damn good for me. But when I look at the actions of Kanye West, when I look at the rhetoric of Kanye West, that's all I have to judge him by. Me and him are not personal friends. So what do I have to go by? I have the actions that I see, his past, and the rhetoric that he uses. And if that's all I have to judge a person by, that is the metric in which I'm going to judge him. And I believe that's the metric in which you should judge him as well. Do you think that's unfair?
No, I don't think that's unfair. I don't see why you don't support him.
Kanye?
Yeah.
I don't support him because I think everything that comes out of his mouth is idiotic. I believe his actions actually go back to that idea. I'm still trying to figure out why you support him. Oh, he's growing. He is learning how to be an adult.
And most of what he said is true.
Most of what he said is true.
Yeah. He's pushed for love, for morality. Nobody should be killing. We need to bring back the family.
Yeah.
He's, in my mind, he's miles above all these phony politicians we have in office. Not that I want him for office. He's not ready, in my opinion. But I support him in what he's saying. I like what he's saying overall.
Do you believe that he is living what he is saying?
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a real guy.
Okay. Well, I believe he is not living everything that he says because he doesn't even know what he's saying.
Based on what? What is he saying that he's not living?
Anyone that wants to come on to a nationwide platform wearing a GIMP suit, holding up a Yoo-hoo bottle and a freaking net, talking about Benjamin Netanyahu.
It was cute. I love Netanyahu. I love Netanyahu.
Do you?
I do. He is my favorite Israeli politician. I only know him really, but I like that he didn't like Obama. I like that he liked Trump. I get that he may have maybe not been totally loyal to Trump, but it's, you got to cut these people some slack.
Well, you should be loyal to no man. You should be loyal to God. You should be loyal to Jesus Christ, but you should not be loyal to any man.
By
No one
loyalty,
should
I mean loyalty to what's right with respect to Trump. I think that he went too easily for congrats Joe Biden. But you know, he's trying to look out for his country. He was the prime minister, and I like how the establishment of Israel did not like him. They were trying to oust him forever.
Nationalism is based. I can follow you there, right?
Yeah. So anyway,
basic nationalism is pretty based. Yeah.
I still didn't take it personally. I thought it was cute that he was making fun of Netanyahu.
I thought it was stupid.
I get
he's a
your
minstrel.
I get
He's
your
a freaking
dignity
clown.
argument. I get your be mature, but I think you may be too serious. The opposite extreme from him. Yeah, he may be a little off, but I think you're a little off in taking that aspect too seriously.
Well, no. So when I look at like the jokes with Donald Trump that he did in the 2016 election, I look at it and I go, okay, look, he's using a little bit of his charisma and stuff. He's trying to win over people. Okay, good, fine, fair. And he was respected on the world stage broadly, not because of his humor, but because he was kind of a wild card. He was a bit unpredictable,
and especially
Kanye
by
is
the dangerous
unpredictable.
ones. The dangerous
Yes.
ones respected Trump. Those are the ones who
But
you
Kanye
need to
is
respect.
unpredictable in a way that you can't even take seriously. You don't sit there and take laugh clown laugh seriously. So these are the things that I have to look at. If you want to say, should you support Kanye West? Look, if you want to support his music, I don't care. But if you want to support him in a political sense, I think that's ridiculous. If you want to take him seriously as an adult, I think that's even worse. Because most 18-year-olds know more about being an adult than Kanye freaking West.
Man,
Okay?
I say that Kanye is getting it off his chest in a way that is very healthy for the country. He has moved, like I said, the Overton window. Do you disagree with his criticisms of, is he going too hard against the Jewish people? Is he going too, is that idiotic, that aspect of what he's saying?
I think JQ is cringe. I am a Messianic Jew. I'm a Jew with Jesus. Jesus died a Jew. Jesus was a Jew. Suck it, who all wants to deny that? But it's when I look at it has nothing to do with the Jewish stuff with me.
And so,
that's the way he feels.
But you said
I don't
everything.
care.
I know, but you said everything he says is idiotic. That's a big part of what he says. Is there any?
Well,
so there's nothing in you that's taking that personally, because
no.
Good. Now, is it idiotic what he's saying?
Quite often, and I just go, whatever.
But I don't see this as JQ. I don't even get the whole JQ thing. I take what he's actually saying.
About the cabal of the people.
But I take what he's actually saying. Some of it may be true. Some of it is undeniably true, and then some of it I don't think is true. I don't know. But I don't take it as idiotic. I mean, he's a black Hebrew Israelite, or he believed that thing. Seems silly. So, but
I think that is a silly stance. But
it's silly. But I
studied a lot of the history of that time. Yeah.
There's an unnecessary clampdown on that type of talk, and he's opening up that conversation, which I think is good for the country.
Is he really?
We're talking about it. Many people are talking about it.
And because of the way that he did that, he is basically going through financial ruin. He is having to associate himself with the likes of a cat boy, a covert homosexual known as Nicholas J. Fuentes.
You're a Christian.
I am
speculating about another man's life.
The man
gossiping.
did a stream chasing semen.
So I don't know. I'm not that into any other guy like that.
You're talking about someone.
It sounds like you're gossiping.
Roommate moved out. He pulled a black light out to inspect his bedding for seminal juices.
This is pretty gross stuff. Why are you so into this stuff?
This is the person who's hanging out with Kanye West, and you want to take him seriously.
Like I said,
I'm talking about someone who is a freaking coomer, who is his quiet yes man. Really, what he is the gimp's gimp.
Some Christian you are. You're a gossip.
judging someone by their freaking actions and their words?
I've never heard
You're
his.
damn
I've
right.
never seen those actions. That's a
Well, then
gross
maybe
thing.
you should
Why are
look
you so
up-
into that? What's wrong
Well,
with you that
because-
you're so into that? That's pretty gross.
Because
Shame on you for you're like those
I
people who repeat what Trump said about grab them by the P word. You never hear Trump say it, but you hear them repeat it.
actually,
You're
you
the
do hear
vulgar
Trump
one.
say that because there's an actual recording.
I know, but
in
you don't
his
hear him.
voice.
You haven't heard him say that since 2005.
No, I haven't. And do I?
And
I
so why
don't
are
sit
you
there and actually
repeating
talk about it.
vulgar speculation about another man's life?
It's not vulgar speculation.
Yes, it
this
is.
Something that he has openly admitted to.
He doesn't openly admit to that. Not that I've seen.
Not that
As
you've
far as
seen.
I've seen. But I'm not that into other men's
I
lives.
follow this stupid shit because I'm a commentator on the internet.
I am too,
I'm
and I don't have
someone
to
that
follow
follows
gossip
the
and
social
rumors and
commentary
mess.
that's going on. Shouldn't you do the same?
No, because that's shallow gossip drama. The Bible repeatedly talks about don't get into gossip, don't get into slander and backbiting. Be united with fellow Christians. I'm united with Andrew. I'm united with the cozy people where I can. I'm united with the normie Christians and the Christians who have beef with Jewish people. I'm united with everyone as far as it depends on me, which is what the Bible says to do. But you're like going around basically making spurious accusations against Kanye, saying that he is pimping out his children. What a vulgar thing to say. That's not what he's doing. Shame on you.
Is the man not the leader of the family?
Are you trying to like get big or something?
Is the
Why
man
are you
not the leader of the family?
No, why are
Is the
you
man not responsible for the actions of his child?
What's making you try to make these big nasty claims about people? Are you trying to get
What
big
is
on the
big
internet
and
or
nasty?
something?
This is all open and public, my man.
No, it's not. He's not pimping out his kids. There's nothing about Kanye
If
that
his
says that he's
children
pimping out his
wearing
kids.
fashion in a public scene,
That's not pimping.
that is related
That's
to
a stretch.
specific fashion brand associated with CP and child exploitation, and you want to tell me
That's
he
not
isn't
pimping.
when him and his family are getting money from that? Isn't that actually the definition of
No.
pimping?
No,
When
you don't
have
think
your child do something for money?
you don't see clearly, man. You're emotional
I don't
about
see
this.
clearly, my man.
Yeah,
my guy.
You're just
You're sitting here that
you're a
people
blind,
saying that people should
judgmental,
support
angry
individ-
person.
What?
You're a blind, judgmental, angry person. And that's why you don't support Kanye. You think everything he's doing is ridiculous. You should support him as your brother, your Christian brother.
I hold him accountable as I would hold anyone else accountable.
Accountable for what, though? You're making accusations that aren't
His
even you have no
actions.
evidence of. His
You
past
don't-
actions, he
well,
he
the
doesn't
evidence
endorse his
is that
past
his child
actions.
is walking out in frickin' child exploitative frickin' fashion.
That's a cherry
doing
pick.
it openly.
That's a
while
cherry
his
pick
parents
stretch of
are
a judgment.
getting paid for it.
You're lame.
I'm lame.
Yeah,
You're come on, man.
you're being lame though. I like you. I totally like you,
You
man.
disagree, my
I
man.
love
You
the
can
South.
disagree.
I love the South. I love your seriousness. I really respect the fact that you want him to be more dignified. I think he could listen to that and take it more seriously. And maybe he should listen to your advice about.
Like Nicholas J. Fuentes, he actually cannot be taken seriously.
And maybe he should be taking your.
with a clown.
He's not a clown, man. No, he's no more of a clown than you or me or Andrew. We're all a bunch of dumb, prideful idiots trying to be Christians. Who cares? Like you're this perfect person.
You can't drag me into it. Yeah.
Well, I'm just making the point that we're all Christians here, and this man is this AircraftSparky is trying to be like judging these two Christian men who are trying to push Christianity in the country, and I get that they may have their issues. I don't know. I'm not that into it, but come on, be like. You're holding them accountable for stuff. I think you're too serious. You're too serious, man. And you're jumping to conclusions that are extreme. Did his picture freeze? Oh man.
Yeah, it looks like it did. I gotta wait a second for him to come back. Well, while we're waiting, I'm kind of enjoying myself. I've got
Nice.
fresh cookies right out of the oven. It's Christmas time.
Merry Christmas, man.
Merry Christmas to you too, Hake. blizzard outside. We don't give a shit. We're gonna do this debate.
You're in Wisconsin, you said?
Michigan.
Oh, okay. Same thing.
Michigan.
I don't know my
Close,
geography.
Close enough. Right? Close
Yeah.
enough. It's, we just don't. The accent here is stupid. It's just not as stupid as the Wisconsin accent.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. When I was a kid, there was a show called Bobby's World.
Yeah, I remember
The
that
mom,
a little bit.
yeah, the mom was from like Minnesota.
Don't you know?
Or
Yeah.
Wisconsin. Yeah. That's what that shit sounds like.
Yeah. I saw that movie Fargo, and that one lady has kind of a cute accent like that. People
what was messed up?
Yeah.
About that show Bobby's World is that I was a little kid when it came out, so the dad was Howie Mandel,
Oh,
and
okay.
he did the voiceover and whatnot. And one day I heard this stand up, and it was Howie Mandel, and I'm like, I recognize that voice. That's the dad from Bobby's World, right? And then I listened to the stand up, and it was not. He's not a clean comedian. Let's put it that way.
I know. Yeah, I've been kind of disillusioned with a lot of those guys, or heard things about a lot of those guys. Robin Williams and all them. I was never a big fan of Robin Williams. I did like Hook, but
I don't know. Robin Williams did the one. He did the one good bit. I won't repeat it here, but it was pretty funny. Okay, so while we're waiting for him,
people are saying I have an autistic voice.
when you say
Nice.
when you say it's backbiting, like you wouldn't hold that standard if we were ripping Democrats to shreds off the shit that they did.
If it was like their personal lives, but I rip people for what they stand for publicly. Like Joe Biden, I don't really go after him for sniffing the kids or touching the kids. I chalk that up possibly just to being an old man trying to be a touchy-feely politician.
Though, right?
It is.
Like
It
gross.
is. But what's creepier about Joe Biden is that he wants an unrelenting stream of immigration to replace the white stock, and he wants to support same-sex marriage even before Obama came out in support of so-called same-sex marriage. And he wants 8-year-olds. You can, but to me, like, it gets into speculation, and unless they come out and say this is what they're into and they're proud of it, why would you bring that out? To me, it's gossip.
Well, because so for instance, there was that whole big thing where there was a ton of homosexuals who were in the Republican Party, and people were coming out and challenging the fact that these big conservative think tanks had all the homosexuals in the front of the party, right? And so they would drag up their personal lives, and why shouldn't they? Like, why shouldn't they do that to say this is contrary to our value structure? Who cares what you say in public? What you do in private, it means that what you're saying in public isn't true, right?
No, not necessarily, because if these guys are in the closet and they have shame about what they're doing, we should encourage the closet and then to overcome it. I don't know that story. I know that Deadline was doing a lot of trying to accuse different people of being gay, and maybe some of them were correct. But
no, I'm talking about guys who are openly gay, like Milo.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they're openly homosexual.
Yeah, if they're
like,
openly that's a radical
out?
homosexual. They shouldn't be. Yeah, that shouldn't be promoted for sure. But but I don't know Nick Fuentes to be openly a cat boy or whatever that other stuff is, and I don't know.
I understand that.
I don't know Kanye to be pimping out his kids or.
No, I agree. I agree with that. That you can definitely attack that criticism.
Yeah.
Right? But on the other hand, you can't say that a person who made his name going after homosexuals in the forefront of a Republican think tank, who then puts homosexuals at the forefront of his own think tank, isn't a hypocrite. That's hypocritical, man.
Is that I don't know that story. Is that Milo? You said that's Milo?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's odd. And that's not it's not conservatism. It's part of the growing degeneracy. And that's why I don't like this puffing up about child predator stuff, because nothing else is shocking anymore. Let's call out all the evil. Let's call out pornography, sex out of wedlock, allowing same-sex marriage that has gone on in the Republican Party, which I get that Trump is part of that, but I cut him slack because he's always been like that. It's not as if he pretended not to support same-sex marriage before. We knew going into it that was one thing that we disagreed with him about. For
Hang on,
example,
we got Sparky back. Sorry about that.
nice.
I just tried to fill in just kind of briefly for you there, Sparky. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My
Go
internet
ahead,
just
guys. I'm
died.
sorry.
I got a feeling that was need to reset my VPN.
So where we left off on was we were talking about degeneracy in the Republican Party. You had made a bunch of allegations, and Hake had essentially said that you were being a backbiter based on those types of allegations, and that he felt that was very unchristian-like behavior, and that's basically about when it dropped off. So I'll let you kind of pick up from there as the recap.
So here's the deal. Look, I'm going to hold people accountable for their actions and the things that they say. Okay, the things that Nicholas J. Fuentes has openly talked about on his own show, and that those that have been close to him have talked about openly. I take people at their word. I am going to hold them to that. I'm going to hold them to their actions and their rhetoric, and there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's all you have to judge people on. You do that. When I was looking you up, you were talking about love and stuff on your show. You were talking about how you should show love for your fellow man. Part of love is also when they make mistakes, when they are not living the moral straight and narrow path, you hold them accountable for that. That is love. And it may not be nice. Love is not always nice. So I'm just following what you preach, Hake. I'm showing love by holding people accountable by their actions and their rhetoric. And you should do the same. Now, we can sit there and we can try to change our point of view on things and try to see, well, maybe we can be as generous as you want to try to, okay, the person is making a mistake. Fine, fair, whatever. But here's the deal. You still have to hold them accountable because we don't know their intentions. The only thing we can do is see what we see and make judgments based on that, right?
I think that a lot of people think that they have love or that they don't have hate, that they're just speaking the truth. And a lot of times when people get angry, they feel like it's righteous anger. But really, I think that often I know that it's self-righteous anger. I know because I know myself somewhat. And
righteous anger, is there a thing such as righteous anger?
I don't know, but
you don't know?
But anyway, let me make my point about what you think is love. You're bringing up stuff that there may not be truth to it, or it may not be relevant or real. And that's not holding people accountable. I'm all for telling Kanye, don't be angry, be wise, fix your presentation. It's a little off. This artsy stuff isn't quite working maybe. I'm all for constructive criticism and telling him where he's wrong, disagreeing with him where he's wrong. But making claims that, oh, he's pimping out blah, 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 and making accusations about the guy he's going around with as you called him a coomer and all that stuff.
Yes.
Like, did he say that he's doing that? Unless he says that he's doing that, then you're just a gossip, really.
No. So
because he's not promoted that to my knowledge.
And he's actually admitted to taking a black light to the bedding of his former housemate, roommate, or whatever, to see if there was seminal fluid. No, he actually streamed that.
Whatever. I don't understand your point.
So
I don't even understand what
right
that
there,
means. I don't even understand your statement right there. Nor do I really want to, honestly.
Okay. That's fine, man. That's fine. So you basically said in your opening statement about how you thought that it was nice that Nick Fuentes was sitting there off to the side, quietly listening while supporting the man. You thought that was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's only appropriate, really.
Okay, fine, because he is the individual that is supposed to be putting out the message. Are people responsible for whom they hang out with?
Yeah, I think that those two are keeping fairly decent company as company goes.
Okay. I mean, look,
I see. Here's how I see Nick, and here's how I see Kanye. Nick is promoting Christianity. Yeah, it's Catholic, and he's promoting, not hating whites. To put it in a way, and Kanye,
I promote not hating anybody, but okay.
Yeah, but especially whites, because whites are the most hated, as you know, in the country, and it's encouraged to hate whites. And then I see Kanye as trying to push Christianity and trying to call out the people who he feels have wronged him and have been a really bad influence in the country and have gotten away with it for too long. So I see those two men as Christians, speaking what's the truth as they see it, flawed perhaps, but overall, what's not to support?
I mean, so
yeah, I mean, Kanye's a little off in some of the stuff that he said. I get that. I'm with you there.
Okay. So I'm still at the point of asking questions of where do you, so if someone claims to be Christian, okay, and you do see a change, okay, there has been a change in the way Kanye carries himself and everything else. Have you ever once called a person false Christian or anything like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
Sleepy Joe, for example.
Okay. That's cool. So you use that. Do you know him? Do you know Creepy Joe personally?
Based on his words, the messages that he puts out is evil. The messages that Kanye and Nick put out, they're not evil.
They're not? I mean, I'm gonna, yes, some of the things they put out are evil. I will argue that.
Name something that they put out that's evil.
So one of the things that Nick puts out is, well, he puts out kind of racist statements quite often. He's quite what you would call anti-Semitic.
Neither of those things are in the Bible. Neither of those things are real.
Oh, racism is not real. So believing that a race is superior to another is not is that not a sin?
No, it's not a sin.
No,
it's
not
nobody.
A sin?
Everybody thinks that they're superior when they're in a fallen state. That's the pride of man. Give me a break.
Pride is not a sin?
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the cardinal sins, right? It's one of those in fact that it says in the Ten Commandments.
And are you prideful in are you prideful in judging Nick for his supposedly racist and anti-Semitic statements?
When he puts out anti-Semitic and racist statements.
Yeah, are you prideful in judging him for those things?
No, I'm righteous in condemning those actions.
Okay.
Because that is pride.
No, you're the one who's prideful.
How is that prideful when you
see someone name one racist statement? You haven't even said anything that he said that's wrong. You just said that it was racist or an anti-Semitic. What has he said that's so-called untrue and holding himself as above those people?
The fact that anyone wants to condemn an entire race of people based on tropes or anything like that. I know a lot of Jewish people who are not bankers, that are not lawyers, that are not in entertainment, but I do know actual historical reasons why those professions are predominant in that group of people.
You haven't told me anything that he's said that's untrue.
Because I'm not going to repeat the filth that comes out of his freaking mouth.
You repeat all kinds of filth that you made up about him. Why not repeat the filth that comes out of his mouth?
Anything.
What in the world? All of a sudden you want to be dainty.
The only problem that you have is
all of a sudden you want to be proper.
I said that they were pimping out their daughter by putting her in clothes in which they get paid for to model.
And then you call them a coomer.
And you're sitting there going, that isn't pimping them out. When you have someone else do
no, hold on. You're acting like you're all. I'm too proper to repeat the words that Dick Fuentes said.
It doesn't have to be all sexual, my guy.
Hang on. Let Hake respond here, Aircraft.
I mean, I was talking over him, so I didn't catch at the end of what he was saying. But so you're refusing to repeat any statement that he said that you deem as so-called racist and anti-Semitic, as if that's some Christian sin.
I am not going to sit there. I am not going to sit there.
But he never
and
condemned an
repeat
entire
hateful
race of people.
Rhetoric about people, which I do not. Yes.
No, he did not.
Nicholas J. Fuentes has condemned entire races of people on multiple occasions.
No, he has not.
Kanye West actually is not.
Neither of those guys have.
Kanye West has said that there is a Jewish cabal.
Not one human being. Probably not one human being condemns an entire race of people, except God. All have sinned.
All have sinned and fallen.
Yeah, so,
yes.
But I don't know any. Anyway, you can't say anything that he said that's racist or anti-Semitic. Not that those things are even real. It's whether he said it was true or false, whether it was spoken in love or hate. And we've all fallen in those ways.
If something is said in love or hate, my man.
You just have to, either you see it or you don't. You have to, really, the man has to know it from within his own heart.
Okay, so really, there's no way to actually tell. Is that the?
Oh, you can kind of tell if it's a lie, or if it is. You can kind of tell. Okay. But it's either true or false, and it's either love or hate. It's either right or wrong, and it's not racist or anti-Semitic. You shouldn't fall for that stuff. That's communist stuff. It's divisive.
It's communist stuff. So divisive speech is all communist stuff.
No, it's not all. Divisive speech is not all communist stuff. There's dividing based on the truth, and then there's dividing based on intellectual stuff that you build up in your mind, which is lies.
So when
where's racism and anti-Semitism in the Bible?
It's not, but it's a form of pride. You even went down that.
But it's not always a form of pride.
Words.
But most of the time when people are called racist or anti-Semitic, it's for saying something that's true or false. But there's not necessarily pride involved in that.
So
the people who are prideful are the ones judging them as racist or anti-Semitic.
So the person that is saying the racist comments are not prideful
because it's not racist.
That are calling out, but the people who are calling out the racism, that's pride.
Yeah, you look at the Black Lives Matter movement. You ever heard of Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
They're pridefully condemning Derek Chauvin, and they have no idea what was in Derek Chauvin's heart.
You're right. You're right. But see, here's the deal. Not all people that call out racism is really doing that kind of stuff. The people that are politicizing it all and tried to get some type of economic favor, things like that. That's what Black Lives Matter is doing. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're using this for economic gain. When you look at their actions, when you actually see all the money that they raise, and you realize that they've not donated a single freaking dime to the black community. So even in their own minds, black lives truly don't matter to them. Would you agree?
Right.
Okay. So when we look at their actions plus their rhetoric, now we can actually come to a conclusion.
But you don't even need their actions because their rhetoric was wrong from the start.
You know what? But actions speak louder. Would you agree?
Not necessarily, because
in the world,
out of the overflow of the
actions will make a lot more sense to people.
I know, but out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. That's in the Bible. It's a fact. Mm-hmm. And people's messages, people's overall messages matter more than the little piddly little details that you nitpick. And you're nitpicking piddly little details about Kanye West and his friends, or so-called friends, whatever you want to call them. Whereas you're missing his message, which is his message overall. He's trying to push love. Maybe he's imperfect about it,
but he's doing it in an idiotic way.
Let him be idiotic. This is America.
The way
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Yes.
So let him be idiotic.
Nothing wrong with that. For Christ's sakes, you're syndicated.
Support him.
I've watched some of your shows, and some of your takes are brain dead. But you know what? I support your right to do it.
So would you?
I see that you have. Do you?
Okay, let's put it this way. Do you support me?
Do I support you? I support your right to speech. I do not support your show because I think your intentions may be good, but I think your messaging is off.
So wouldn't that be a way of supporting me by saying,
So
I
I have
like your intentions, but I don't.
I've
But
already come out and said that if you want to support them, there's really not that big of a deal. But the question is, should conservatives? I don't think Kanye's conservative. He is coming over to that side,
right.
but until he actually proves himself in the conservative sphere, no. If you want to support him on a conservative in a conservative manner, you need to actually know that he is a conservative. The problem with
No,
the
not
conservatives
true.
in America is the fact that we have backed a bunch of freaking rhinos.
Yeah, but
I mean, for
Kanye's
Christ's
not a
sakes,
Kanye's not
Mitch
such a phony
McConnell
as
just
these
voted
rhinos
to
are.
give $48 billion to Ukraine. How is that putting America first?
Right. That's
When
why I
we're
put
spending
Kanye
more
above
time.
those guys.
But when it comes down to it,
Do you think
when I
Kanye's
look at
faking
the
it?
actions of these people, I do not see them living what they are claiming.
And do you
Nicholas
live what
J.
you claim?
Fuentes does not sit there and try to show the love of Christ to everybody. He wants an ethno-nationalist state.
There's nothing
That
wrong
is
with that.
ridiculous.
That's just a
Okay,
a
there's
preference.
nothing wrong with that.
What's
And
wrong with that?
Kanye West,
What's wrong with
who
that?
claims that he's a Black Hebrew Israelite, wants basically the same thing, but he wants to put America first. So I guess that makes everything just fine.
Are you trying to put words in my mouth or something?
No,
Then why are you
not at
saying
all.
a yes that makes everything just fine? That sounds sarcastic.
Because it is sarcastic.
But who thinks that that makes everything just fine? That he wants to put America first?
Well, so I'm a nationalist. I believe that America should come first in everything politically when it's American politics. Okay. But just because someone says that doesn't mean that I support them.
Honestly, I don't see Kanye as wanting this ethno-nationalist thing. I kind of wish
If
he
he's
did
a
want
Black
more
Hebrew
of it.
Israelite, that is actually something that they push for. That is in their belief structure.
I wish, but he's like, do you want a
You
border
wish?
wall? Are you going to build the wall? And he's like,
Yeah,
we
build the
want
wall, build it
love.
12 feet tall, build it 100 feet tall. I don't care. Let's go.
Kanye did not say that, though. He said we want
No,
love. So that's one thing I disagree with him on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want love, but we need to build the wall and
Well,
ship them all out.
So, yeah, I'm down with that. I'm
Yeah.
down with that idea, Hake. But the deal is, Kanye is not talking straight conservative values.
But he doesn't
So
have to
why
be.
why should I, as a conservative, support him if he does not echo my moral ideals?
What do you mean when you say support? Because you don't support me. You think I say some brain dead things. You think I may be coming from the right place, but I have brain dead takes.
I am not going to financially support your show because I think that you put out some messaging that is wrong.
That's
I
what you
think
mean
do
by
it with
support?
great intention, but I think that you have great intention, and I support your right to speak, even if I thought that you had evil and ill will intention, I would still support your right to speak.
How about moral support? Do you have moral support for Hake or Kanye?
I have moral support for everyone who wants to speak, whatever.
Because when I say I support Kanye, I don't financially support him, of course.
Okay.
And when I say I support him, I don't particularly want. I agree with Trump. He's not ready to run for office yet.
He isn't.
But I
don't think he's ready to do much in the public spotlight.
But I will. But I'll defend the truth that he's saying. That's what I mean by support him, because he's saying true statements.
He has made some true statements. He has made some true statements.
Let's go through some of the statements that he said, if we have time.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
He said that such and such Jewish person got me and did me wrong, right? He said something to that effect.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you support him in saying that?
He could say it all he wants. Yes.
No, but do you defend him saying that? If somebody says that's anti-Semitic of him to point out that they're Jewish,
that is not anti-Semitic. The only anti-Semitic point is the fact that he actually had to point out the race. He could actually just call out the name, something that he would not do, and that would have been actually better instead of this group of Jewish bankers or this group of blah 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 did this. I would rather him just come out and say names.
Okay, now I disagree with you there. I disagree with you there in that. A lot of group-thinking people take offense when something that happens in their group all too commonly is pointed out, like blacks constantly crying racism, or or disproportionate violent crime in the black community or with the Jewish people being liberals or whatever. When they get all touchy about that, that needs to be pressed, because they shouldn't be identifying, like Ben Shapiro shouldn't be complaining that that's anti-Semitism for him to point out
the anti-Semitic portion is actually the denial of the individual. That is actually where Ben Shapiro would actually say that is anti-Semitic.
But he's being silly, because everybody knows that everybody is an individual, including Kanye.
So,
But generalizations are stated because generalizations are either generally true, or all too frequently true, or it's a stereotype that is unfair and untrue, like white people are racist. That's a false stereotype, right?
So white people are racist is a false stereotype. I can agree with that.
Right.
Okay, we can agree with that. Are all blacks racist?
Most.
Are all Jews racist?
Most.
Are all Hispanics racist?
Most.
What about Asians? Let's just go ahead. We'll hit them all. Okay. What about Native Americans?
Most.
Those are strong statements right there, Hake.
Now, I don't believe in racism, but they are.
You don't believe in racism, but all these people are mostly racist.
What you would call racist, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
identifying with their.
When I call people, when I call someone racist, I actually go by the true definition of them holding a race over another, finding superiority. I believe that people are equal. All have fallen short of the grace and glory of God. All have sinned. Things like that. Everyone is guilty of that. No one is perfect. I think we both can agree there, right?
Christ said for us to be perfect. So some people may be perfect.
No. We try to live Christ-like, which was perfect, but do we all have fallen short?
All have fallen short, but he said to be perfect. And the Bible frequently says we are perfect and be perfect. But anyway, continue with your point. All have done wrong and all have their issues.
Yes, all have issues. However, if me and you met tomorrow, if we were to sit down and have lunch, I would treat you like I would treat anyone else.
I know that because you're Southern. I know that because you're Southern. You're a Southern Christian white man.
Well, it's
a veteran.
That actually has nothing to do with it. That's just everyone.
You were raised right.
I'm pretty much an egalitarian. Everyone is equal. They can have equal scorn or equal love. I don't care. I judge people on their individual traits. When you say that any group, you said that most whites are not racist. However, blacks, Hispanics, Asians are. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them. Those were your words. True?
Right. Yes.
I think that is a broad generalization. I think you are actually denying the individuality. You are denying the free will, which, by the way, is mentioned in the Bible itself. That is why Eden was tempted by the serpent. That is what condemned man. Got them thrown out of Eden. It was the hubris. It was the free will that the serpent actually tempted Eve with, to get her to take of the fruit of knowledge, and then use her womanly wiles to convince Adam to do the same, thus condemning man. Okay,
I don't see that as free will, but go ahead.
But the fact that the Lord gave that ability to humans to make that decision is a form of free will, Hake.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so.
But I'm not denying anybody's. I'm not denying anybody's individuality by making a generalization.
When you make broad generalizations of people based on something as ridiculous as their skin color, but then
it's not based on their skin color. It's based on my experience of looking around at most of these people.
Okay, and that's fine. That is your observations. But when you will sit there in the same sentence claim that most whites are not racist,
because they're trained not to be.
Because they're trained not to be.
They're traumatized away from even identifying with their whiteness. Whereas everybody else is trained and traumatized to identify with it and to suspect racism in whites.
Okay.
You haven't seen that?
Well, no, I have seen rhetoric like that. I think it's ridiculous, and I think we can agree
I
there.
grew up in
It's not
Southern
a
California near LA, and it was rampant
yeah.
among the
So
Asians, Hispanics, blacks.
I've got family in San Diego. In fact, I was there earlier this year. Um, but most of my family is from the South. Okay, but mistakes happen. Things occur, and
What do you mean
yeah.
by that?
Well, so
Mistakes happen, things occur.
bad things happen. Things occur. There are multiple times where you will see that people make mistakes, and I believe everyone can make a mistake. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. Is there something wrong with people making mistakes?
What are you talking about, though? Are you talking about racist mistakes or something? I
Any
don't get.
mistake.
Oh,
Any
doing,
mistake.
yeah, people err.
Yes. So we can sit there and go, yes, people make mistakes. No big deal. We can move past that. The problem that I have, the problem that I would say where you have made the racist statement would be things such as most blacks, most whites, most Hispanics, most Asians are racist, where white people are trained not to be. Now, I will tell you, I've been to some pretty shithook areas of America where racism from white people exists.
Nice.
No, that's terrible because I think you
What's
should treat
terrible about
everyone
it?
with love. I
I
think you
know,
should
but
treat everyone
racism
with
is
love.
not necessarily a lack of. What's called racism is oftentimes an expression of love. Rick Santorum, for example, said, "I want blacks to be working," and that was considered racist, but that was an expression of love. Because
Yeah, I
the
don't really.
because the what's implied is that many of them are not working, which is reality. But he's called racist for pointing out something that's true, making a generalization that is generally true, all too frequently true. So that's what I mean by that. Because what's wrong with the whites is that there's like a lack of strength and a lack of speaking their mind and a trauma about calling things as they are. Not so much in the South, the beautiful South, but even there too. So I find it quite refreshing that blacks go off half-cocked sometimes and speak their mind quite freely. I don't consider that racist for them to be like that.
No. The racist portion is when they do the broad generalization of people
Yeah, but
of other races.
that's how they see
And
things. Let's let them say it and not condemn it as
they're
racist.
allowed to say it all they want. I will not sit
I
there
get
and
that.
deny them their ability to say that.
I know, but the culture condemns whites and allows the blacks especially and everybody else too.
Well, I mean, I'll allow anyone to say what
I
they
know.
want.
That's why I would put you in charge in Kanye's administration.
Oh, I couldn't because right now he hasn't given forth any
I know, I'm
policies
playing
that I can
around, but
support. If he
but
had some policies that I could actually support, maybe
yeah, no,
I
I'm
would. But as it stands right now, while he is surrounding himself with a
Gentlemen,
cooler,
gentlemen, there's no great time to end a debate, but we have come to the close of this one. We still have a bunch of callers and super chats to get through, and we've got your closing statements before we get to those. So we're going to have to wrap this portion of it up. I'm going to let you close first, AircraftSparky, so that Hake gets the last word. Go ahead.
okay. Look, when you are going to figure out whom you're going to support for anything of a serious nature, if you like an individual's art but you don't like their politics, you can support their art and not their politics. If you like their message and not their art, you can do that. But I'm going to tell you from a conservative standpoint, the things that Kanye West and the people with whom that he associates with right now does not actually support conservative opinions and the mindset. So conservatives should not support Kanye in any serious manner. Have his right to speak. There's nothing wrong with that. I want deplorable speech. I want great speech. I want all forms of speech to be allowed to be heard. Let the good and the bad ideas come out. The best sanitizer is sunlight. It's very simple. If you have great ideas, hopefully they should flourish. If they have bad ideas, they're exposed for what they are and they get to crumble in the disease ridden filth that they are. we can disagree on what is racism and what isn't, but when you hear something that just makes you kind of cringe a little bit, you should immediately go, why did I have that response? And you should go with that. You should literally just go, no, that isn't right, and not support that. That is your right. I believe that until Kanye actually grows as a person, as a conservative, as a Christian, I don't believe that he deserves any support from the conservative mindset. I don't believe he should be taken seriously until he has grown into that conservative mindset. My opponent here, his argument is, well, he says that he's a Christian. You know, some of his actions, his rhetoric, it seems like he is getting there. Well, if he's getting there, then he is still an infant in that journey, and we can support his journey to become a stronger Christian, a better Christian, a more moral individual. But at the end of the day, we're not going to follow him as a leader because they're not ready. And Hake even admitted the man is not ready for politics. Good. That's where I'm at. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Hake, go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you, AircraftSparky. It's been fun. I say that we should be supporting Kanye West and his friends where they are right, and they are right on a lot of things, and disagree with them where they are wrong, and they are wrong on a few things, and maybe wrong on more things than I may realize. I don't know. A lot of stuff I don't know, don't care. And I say that when one cringes at a statement, one should look within rather than necessarily go with that feeling, that reaction, because that reaction is not always right. We have to know ourselves and our judgments and our prejudices and our traumas and realize that we don't have to be concerning ourselves quite so much with the maturity or lack thereof as Christians of other people, but know ourselves and really heed what the Bible says about, is repeatedly says, against gossip and division in the church and all of that stuff. Even if others are attacking you, there's no reason to, there's not always a reason to attack back. Sometimes there is. You know, Trump, and when he's running for office, he has to hit back. But I would say that we should be supporting Kanye West as our brother. He's as a Christian brother, and not write him off or pretend like he shouldn't be speaking, whether or not he has a right to. And I think that as whites, we should start to take a lesson from the blacks, because the blacks speak their mind. And that's one thing I appreciate about them, even when they're wrong. And I think the whites need to start speaking their mind and not be concerned with this imaginary thing that generalizations or general statements are wrong and all of that. Don't be so quick to judge someone as writing off and taking away the individuality of another person, because that's not what either Nick Fuentes or Kanye West or any of their other friends are really about. When they talk, they're quite captivating people. Kanye speaks, when he speaks, it kind of forces you to listen, because you know that he's speaking from, I don't want to say strength because I don't necessarily see him as strong, but he's speaking with a conviction and a realness that you don't see in these phony politicians. So there's no comparison between Kanye and Mitch McConnell or any of these phony rhinos. He's miles above those people in terms of his realness. And that's what Trump was when he came on the scene. And to this day, he's a real person, a man among boys. And yeah, they have their issues, things that I disagree with, but there's no reason not to support them.
All right, thank you for that closing statement, Hake. So we do things a little bit differently here on the Crucible. When the closing statements are done, we do consider the debate to be closed. That opens up the door for the moderators to ask their question. I take notes the entire debate. Took quite a few this one. And the call lines are now open. So if you want to call in, ask the debaters a question, you can hop in the Discord. You'll get vetted really quickly, and they'll get you moved right through. Just ask for Quelo. All right, not to be confused with Quaaludes, but yeah, ask for Quelo in the Discord. So, got to start with you, AircraftSparky. So, I felt like he had some strong arguments coming on, and then we got to the racism stuff, and it seemed like it kind of fell apart there. So, I gotta kind of push on some of this. I also grew up in the Southern California area and the Northern California area, and I know exactly what Hake's talking about. One of the things Hake left out is that not only are they racist, but they hate each other, right?
Yeah.
They hate each other's races. So it's not like they're all unified against whites. They all hate each other's races, and they hate whites. It's almost like prison. It's like a prison colony.
Yeah.
Okay, where you almost have to stick with your own kind, right? So, like, he's saying some truth there, wouldn't you agree?
Well, there is a tribal aspect to humans. We tend to want to associate with our own kind, things like that. There is some natural.
Because if that's true, then when Hake says most, he's accurate, right?
So there is a form of accuracy there. But when you exclude whites from that, you are ultimately denying the individual. And since I'm a believer in free will, everyone is an individual, but we do have tendencies to be somewhat tribal. Both can be true.
How is it denying the individual?
If you were just basically saying this group of people, most of them, based on this one characteristic, believes this, you were denying that individual. You were denying the individual. That's the way I see it.
Am I denying the individual, or are they denying their own individuality? Because
I believe
96%,
you're the one that made the statement, not a collective.
I made the observation about them, and it was an accurate observation.
I don't
about
know.
The collective.
I'm not making the point that this is something that's innate. I'm saying that in Southern California and in Northern California, the school curriculum made it this way. Mm-hmm. They were like, yes. It was like Pee-wee prison. Okay, yeah. That's what it was like. So I'm just saying there literally was that whole lunchroom litany test. That wasn't a joke.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When I was a teacher, because I'm a certified teacher in the state of Oklahoma, I taught a couple of years at the middle school level. You would actually see that even in the curriculum they would try to push that, and one of the reasons why I left was because of that wanting to indoctrinate these children to believe that this, that, and the other. I was a social studies teacher. I taught history, and I would refuse to teach that social justice. I would just go straight by the state minimum curriculum, and I got in trouble here and there for it because I just don't believe in that. I believe in the ideals of this country's founding, the idea of the melting pot. So I would teach that. And I treated all my Hispanic students the same way I treated my white students, my black, my Asians, whatever. It didn't matter to me. They were all children, red and yellow, black and white. They were precious in His sight, right?
But I'm guessing that this wasn't like middle school, high school, and above, right?
This was middle school. So yeah,
by the way, it progressively gets worse.
Yeah,
it does. Right? It does.
It's like it progressively gets worse
high
the
school
higher
is
up.
Terrible.
Well, not just that, even moving into college. So it's like, look, I'm just saying there's some truth there. I know for sure. Mm-hmm. I was there, right?
Yeah,
I know. I know what he's talking about. But
I witnessed some of that where I live and growing up as well. It's not just in Southern. It's not just in California. It even happens in Mississippi where I grew up.
I have one more thing I gotta kind of press you on here, which is, you actually believe that moon landing shit? You don't actually believe that shit, do you?
The moon landing?
Yeah.
Do I believe in the moon landing?
Yeah, you don't really think that we flew a bunch of assholes up to the moon, do you? And then got them back the first. You don't really believe that, do you? Or do you?
No, I actually do.
Okay.
So gotcha. It's but look, admittedly, I was brainwashed by my government. I served my government for a long time. So yeah, I may have drank it a little bit too much of the Kool-Aid, but yes, I do believe in the moon landing.
I'm saying, man, that's some ice cold Kool-Aid, and I'm saying, okay, but anyway, all right, fair enough.
Was that
Fair
part of the
enough.
debate? I didn't catch that. Or is
No,
he? Are you
Well,
basing it off of his name?
That's why the moderator takes the notes, so that I can catch the stuff and mess you up on the stuff you guys didn't get to mess each other up on. So,
Are you
one
saying
more-
that? Wait, I'm just from my understanding. Are you saying? Are you surprised that he believes that the moon landing was real, Andrew?
Yeah, because it's the stupidest shit on planet Earth. Like, you have to be a toddler to believe that shit.
So you're with Owen Benjamin on this.
Well, I mean,
That it's obviously not true.
I wouldn't say I'm with anybody on it.
I know, but you
just
basically, but I know that his position is it's obviously fake, and that's your position
He's a smart
too.
guy, because that shit's fake.
Okay.
Okay, it's fake, and not only is it fake, it's so fucking demonstrably fake that I personally believe you have to be a fucking idiot to believe it. That's what I think. That's my 2 cents on it. Maybe that's backbitery or whatever.
No.
Right? But
Being an idiot, AircraftSparky and I are idiots then, because I basically believe it. I don't
Hey.
know. I don't care.
It's fake.
Uh,
It's fake, hey.
I really like that one director that they say did it.
Stanley Kubrick?
I mean, I like that movie that he did with the hotel. Even though I don't like
saying
scary
the Earth
movies.
is flat or none of that.
Right.
I'm just saying that the moon landing in the 1960s with the technology. That's a whole. As my I have a friend of mine who would say it's its own thing, right? So
All
we
right.
gotta. I
did not know this.
stay on the moon landing. I just think it's total fucking bunk horse shit. I must say, after having dove into it as much as I did, because I was on the skeptic side, right? I'm like, of course we went to the moon. You know, of course. No, we didn't fucking go to the moon. No
Well, see,
way.
I
Okay.
haven't looked into it, to be honest, Andrew. I just knowing that
Same.
space travel is possible. I understand the basics of it.
Yeah,
sure, it could be possible.
We fly.
I don't.
sakes.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Sorry, just don't. But anyway, so then the other thing I gotta kind of push back on Hake here for a few of the points. Okay, so Kanye West makes the right wing look fucking stupid, man. He makes us look stupid. All eyes on this guy, and all he did was talk about Nazis and fucking Hitler and shit. Like, who cares about any of that? We've got way bigger fish to fry than drumming up. What that does is it drums up. You know that old saying, like, you know, how do you put this? Like, it's a vicious cycle. If you constantly are playing into the hand of you're anti-Semitic and this and that, that actually gives that power base that they're after the excuse to be like, look, we told you, look at what they're doing, look at what they're saying, right? And that's why so many people think it's a psyop, dude.
You know what? I get your point, and it may be correct. He is going off a little half-cocked, and he's maybe not be going about it in the right way. He's like ego about it, you know, ill-advised, unwise, perhaps. But I still love the conversation that he's bringing up. You know, I think that it's an important topic, and the conservatives, we look plenty stupid, and we are plenty stupid without him, and so I don't care that they're crying this fake thing. I don't care about this fake, but I really don't care about the fake accusation of anti-Semitism. I love that fight, and I'll duke it out with anybody that's anti-Semitism what he's saying, because it may be some of it's untrue. I'm pretty sure, but there's a lot of truth to it, and a lot of that truth is a big taboo that you're not supposed to say, and
yeah, but
it's important to get the truth out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
But
important to get it off your chest.
He was an MK Ultra. They literally used MK Ultra on him. They used
On Kanye?
This form of mind control. They know the guys who did it now. He's named the people who did it. Those same people who were involved in that MK Ultra project have been linked to other people like Britney Spears and many others. And like, at this point, try to get him out of the madness. You don't Like, why
Sure.
would you want to
I get
thrust
that.
him into it? You know?
I get what you're saying about he's acting crazy, and some of the stuff that he's saying, since it is untrue, it's silly, and it's making stuff worse. But I don't really care about a side. I care about like the truth and right and wrong. And so I don't have any hope for America, really, other than that I push for what's right, but I don't see it. I like somebody speaking their mind, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't think that that's the problem. I don't think anybody's upset that he's speaking his mind. I think that going to Trump Tower when you're supposedly the biggest Donald Trump supporters who there's ever been, and you spend years of your life saying Trump or nobody, Trump or die, ride or die Trump, and then you go and purposely under the leadership of a homosexual show up at Trump Tower and run a fucking psyop on the guy, let all the major media outlets know the very next day, so that they all run with the fact that Trump sat down for luncheon with a white or dinner with a white supremacist. The whole thing was done on purpose. Milo admitted he did it on purpose because he wanted gitsy backsies at the Republican Party.
Yeah.
They're all playing into this shit, man.
I don't see Kanye and Nick necessarily as being malicious in the way that Milo allegedly was. So I don't know on that. I kind of liked that he met with them when I heard the news. But I get what you're saying. Can you give me 2 minutes or 1 minute?
Yeah.
I need a bathroom break. All right, thanks.
Go take a bathroom break.
It's an interesting conversation there.
This guy, Milo's long gone. Damage is done, guy.
Yeah.
It's done.
And
Nick it doesn't matter if he's long gone. Oh, well, that's great. After the whole thing was already like, oh, he blew up the ship, but that's cool. He's in the life raft. Like, shut up, retard. Yeah. You're a fucking retard. People who believe this shit, I can't. My mind, it just melts. You're fucking retarded. I don't know what to say. You just gotta be retarded. Like this guy, the guy clearly had an axe to grind with the Republican Party, and he rolls in. I mean, he said this just 2 years ago that he was going to get his revenge, and he goes in and he got his revenge, and he's still getting his revenge. You know, yeah. I just can't even believe this shit. It's like,
Laura Loomer's the one that exposed it all.
Yeah. Well, all those people got something in common, don't they?
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
I mean, if you want to play the echo quote them card, Milo is ethnically, one of them. The optics that go with Kanye and conservatism it doesn't work. It doesn't match. It really doesn't.
This guy,
he's not a conservative.
Look at this guy. He says, Trump isn't the Republican Party. Then don't spend 4 years of your life saying ride or die for Trump, dumb fuck. How about that? How about don't say that for 4 years of your life, and then maybe I'll take you seriously. But anyway, Hake's back. So anyway, guys, I don't have anybody coming through on the call lines. My normal vetters aren't there. So it's possible that... Oh, okay. Hang on. You can, yeah. Let me let them know. There are a couple of guys, I guess.
I'm glad you brought that up about the Milo stunt, because that was an interesting situation. What did you think about that, AircraftSparky?
The fact that Milo Yiannopoulos showed up in Kanye's campaign team just shows me how unserious he should be taken.
I can't totally argue with you on that. But if you think about it, I know the way that it went about. Finish your point. I interrupted. Oh no. Okay, so let me talk about the way it went out. He disappeared for a second. He got to reset his VPN.
Yeah.
I know that InfoWars connected those two, Kanye and Milo. Mm-hmm. And then Milo brought Nick in, I guess, because Nick is a big-time canceled person, too, based on criticizing the Jews or whatever.
No,
or making cookie jokes and stuff.
He didn't bring him in for that reason.
That was his excuse,
because
anyway.
He knew that him going and having lunch with Trump would fuck Trump.
Well, right, in terms of the Trump situation. But in terms of his stated excuse on Tim Pool's show, what I gleaned from that was that he too is the second most canceled man or whatever, you know. So
Oh yeah, he's a genius kid. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I heard all of it, but
yeah,
what
that
he
sounded
wanted
malicious.
to fuck over Trump. That's what happened.
But in for me, that made me love Trump, and that made me appreciate Kanye, and I liked that Nick was able to tell him, hey, you bring up your energy again, or whatever Nick said that he said. I don't know where Milo is coming from, but if it came out that he did do that maliciously, it's not surprising. You know, he's a recovering ex-homosexual, and he still has that anger.
He's not.
No, he's not.
Well, the point is,
No.
homosexuals got anger and malice. They're some of the most malicious people, you know, the open ones.
As straight as Kanye is.
What did you say?
It's been rumored that Kanye's gay as well. So.
Oh, let's not get into the rumors.
Milo. Look, I don't know if that's true, but I know that the guy was a porn addict and everything else.
Right.
And like, not somebody I would hoist up as
degenerate.
being the role model for the. You know what I mean? Just saying.
He's got a long way to grow before he can be a
By the
role
way,
model.
backbiting or not, showing the executives inside of a commercial that you're about to shoot or whatever, porn right from your phone, that's a little over the top.
Who did that?
That was Kanye. There's a video of him doing it. He like walks over to him and goes, "Take a look at this awesome video."
Back in the day or more recently?
It wasn't that long ago, man.
Yeah. No, I know that.
Long ago.
I know fairly recently he went on that late night thing, maybe 2018, and was bragging about liking pornography. But now his message has changed, and a lot of people have that issue, you know. So I like him speaking out against that. Yeah. And I think that AircraftSparky agrees with me about him speaking against pornography.
I just feel like you're way more charitable than you would be if it was somebody else. If it was somebody else, you'd be like, I'm not supporting that guy. He's a porn addict. He's a piece of shit. You know, I feel like if it was somebody else who was running, you'd be like, no. But for some reason with this guy, people are like, well, let's give him a pass.
I don't know, but if somebody changed their message, I can't play a what if because I don't know what other person is doing this, you know?
So do you support Donald Trump currently?
Yes.
For president. Okay, so with his latest statement of saying that he wanted the Constitution suspended because of the FBI operations that were going on at Twitter.
Right. He was talking about aspects. Yeah, I support. I'm fine with that. He speaks his mind as he sees things. Like I don't care about that thing. It's not like he disrespects America all of a sudden by doing that.
I'm not saying that he disrespects America, but if one of the founding documents, that the thing that actually allows for, that actually instructs the government to protect the rights of, is suspended because of a personal thing.
Do you know what specific aspect of it?
Of a leader?
Do you know what specific aspect of the Constitution that he was talking about?
He was talking about elections.
Right.
Because the elections weren't held out properly. That we should suspend part of the Constitution. The last time we had someone do that was in the 1860s.
1 second, too. Hang on. We had 5 gifted memberships come through. We appreciate that very much. If you don't have those, you need to actually go to like your little fucking channel thing or whatever, and you can actually select to accept gifts. Make sure that you do that, and they will get dispersed. So we appreciate that very much for the 5 gifted memberships, Face Palmer. 'Tis the season. Kevin B, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, man.
Yep.
Go ahead when you're ready.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. Hey, good to see you here, Hake, and don't want to take too much time. AircraftSparky, I just had a quick question for you. Andrew said he could hear me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're good?
Yeah, everybody's good?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Generalities. I'm okay with generalities. I'm Puerto Rican, and I see what's happening and, all the bad things that happen, between, different, groups and races and stuff like that. What's the particular problem that you have when speaking in generalities.
I believe when you were segregating people by something as ridiculous as skin color. Okay. Have you ever been down to Puerto Rico? Have you been down to the islands, or do you live there around
No,
that area? Have you been down
when I
there?
was a kid, yeah, it's a lot different
So
than it is in
it is.
Chicago. Yeah,
It
the
is.
Chicago Puerto Ricans are pretty nasty.
So if someone made a statement such as people in the Caribbean are more apt to stab you than anything else, would that be considered a charitable and proper thing?
Would it be
Because knife
proper?
crime is huge in the Caribbean,
Okay, so
especially in Puerto Rico right now, where knife crime is really big.
mhm.
So to say that you're more apt to get stabbed by a Puerto Rican than anything in the Caribbean, I think that would be a racist statement that is denying the individuality of Puerto Ricans.
I mean, speaking as a Puerto Rican, if that's a fact, I mean, I wouldn't be offended by that. I mean,
Well, so
Yeah,
offense
that's a
cannot
good
be given;
warning,
it can only
man.
been taken.
pardon me?
Um, you think that's a good warning?
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
appreciate the
yeah,
warning, Aircraft Sparky.
yeah. But here's the deal: if someone was to claim that all Puerto Ricans are a bit stabby, I think that's unfair
Well, I
because
mean, if you're speaking in generalities, I don't, maybe that's up to the individual to make that assumption that all Puerto Ricans, but when you're speaking in generalities, I don't think people are assuming that all are like that. I'm thinking that they're thinking, many of them are,
so
and
as a
you
personal
should probably be
practice,
careful.
this is something that I have done. I judge individuals. I don't base anything on the color of their skin or
Yeah.
even their background. I try to give everyone an individualistic chance to prove to me of who they are. Everyone comes in with a clean slate with me, regardless of what I know about them ahead of time. But if I am having to look at the actions and the rhetoric of the individual, I'm going to use that. That's all I have to use to judge them by. That is what I'm going to follow.
Yeah, and I don't blame you for doing that. I mean, yeah, I think it is good to, judge, individuals when you're speaking to them as, they are. But I don't think it really does much harm when, speaking in
So it's not a harm thing.
generalities.
It's not a harm thing in my opinion. It's more along the lines of God granted man free will, and so based on that, that is why we are all individuals. It is based on that simple thing alone. And I think something as insignificant as skin color, language, even background, all that could be overcome through individualistic free will.
Who traumatized you to go so extreme this way, Aircraft Sparky?
Idiots that generalized all the time.
So you're
I
going the
mean,
opposite extreme.
That's not really extreme. I think
It is
following the word
extreme
of
to
God
think
is not extreme.
It is extreme to think generalizations are racist and taking away the individuality of people.
yeah. I mean, I'll agree with Hake there, and
Okay.
and to be honest, speaking, as a Puerto Rican, whatever, it is kind of silly when we see politically correct white people kind of tiptoeing around how to speak when it is obvious what they see. We kind of giggle on the inside like, okay, yeah, we know it and we see it too, and a lot of the unsavory types will take advantage of that and enjoy watching you tiptoe around the facts.
Yeah, this is just a personal viewpoint and how I carry everything out. It's
But
that's what rationalized with me.
what you describe
That's
is
the
how
way
you
I rationalize it.
what you describe as how
Hang
you
on,
treat
guys.
people
Hang
is how
on.
everybody is.
We had another
Okay.
gifted membership come in from GG. He got the gift, so he gave the gift. Thank you guys so much. You can keep that up. I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate it. We do a lot of exclusive content that's members only, so it is worth your time to get a Crucible membership. Anyway, go ahead, guys. Sorry.
What you described in terms of how you treated your students and how you treat people on an individual basis, that's how most people are, whether they make generalizations or not. That has nothing to do with making a general statement. So I think
I
that
just don't do generalizations based on race. If you want to talk about people who volunteer to subscribe to certain types of politics, that may be a different thing. I will generalize there. But when it comes to race, I've been all over the world. I've met people from all different walks of life, and it seems that everyone that I've met basically has the same goals, and that is to try to live the best life by their moral values and try to provide for their families. And that's what I have seen firsthand. You know, if you want to talk about as a human race, as a collective, we all kind of have the same basic moral foundations.
I know, but people
I can
fall
almost
into.
agree with that.
But people
I
fall
can
into.
almost agree with that.
People fall into their different issues when they're from some group, whether it's because
Yes.
they identify with the group or it's because of all kinds of different reasons.
Yes. But I think race as a means for generalization, I think is ridiculous. I would look more cultural, religious, things like that. I think that has more impact on how someone's going to act, other than color.
Whatever.
You ever
Kevin-
joke around
Kevin-
with you ever joke around with your friends of different race? Like,
You gotta wrap it up. So keep the last bit here pretty concise.
oh, sure, yeah, and you know, just closing up with a bit of humor. But you know, if you have friends that are of a different race, you ever make racial jokes and stuff like that, or do they take it personally? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to say that I've never performed a racisms or anything. No, I have.
Okay.
I've said racist jokes. I have done bad things. I am not perfect, but when I am trying to discuss on about people, when I'm sitting here performing commentary, I'm gonna show my views. Is it hypocritical that I have made shitty jokes? Sure.
No, we were saying
No. I'm
those
not
are
saying there's
fun.
a
Those are the
problem
best
Hang on, I
ones.
do
racial
just
jokes
want to
at
cut
all.
in real quick and just I don't mean to interrupt the flow, but I got to
Go
thank
ahead,
this
guys.
guy
Yep.
for his huge $100 super chat. Really appreciate that.
Cheers, guys.
Very much. Hang on, before you go, Kevin. I do want to let you know that I have friends who are of a different race, and I feel like when you make the racist jokes with them, those are the funniest kind. Right? I think those are the funniest kind. I
They
must
are.
admit.
They bond you. They bond people. Yeah.
Yeah, I
True.
think so. Anyway,
Yeah.
have a good one, man. Take care of yourself. Nice guy, Kevin is. I think I've talked with him before. I can't remember when. Thanks for the call in very much, Kevin. Have a good day. Neuro Jack, can you hear us okay?
I can. How are you?
Good, man. Go ahead with your question.
Hi, Aircraft. I've never heard of you before, but it was a good debate. I'm also a fellow Southerner, and Hake, I've been watching you for a while, you and Jesse, and awesome to see you here. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, man.
And thank you, Andrew, for doing this as usual. I think it's an interesting topic, and I think you both honestly had good points. I fall somewhere in between because I can see it both ways. I mean, he's either MK Ultra psyop, or he's just, just doesn't give a fuck anymore. I don't know which one it is.
Chat's roasting you, man. They're roasting you. It's happening.
I must be part Irish, So. Shout out.
That's the good half. That's the good half.
Are you sober? We have to ask, since you're Irish, right? Isn't that the joke? I think that's the joke.
Well, I'm not drunk, so not right now.
Oh, damn it. Oh, so not truly Irish. Tracking.
Yeah, just features,
There you go.
But I don't know. I mean, I could go into a lot of stuff because it's an interesting topic because I don't. I mean, first of all, I don't trust Nick Fuentes or Milo because I think they evolved out of the alt-right, and I think a lot of the good alt-right people, they disappeared, and the ones that didn't are probably there's something weird going on with them. So I think that's kind of what's going on, is they're basically trying to run another psyop against anybody who has a opinion that's sane, and I think that's kind of what's going on. But I don't think Kanye is aware of it, or but regardless if he is or not, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I support him saying what he's saying. I just think it's kind of what Aircraft and Andrew is saying is true. I think it's gonna not help any political goals of ours. But my question is, where do you honestly believe the direction of the country is going? I tend to agree with Hake. I don't think there's really much to save at this point. I hope that I'm wrong, because if you've left the United States, it's pretty bad. So I just want to know what you guys realistically see happening.
You want to take this first, Hake?
Sure. One of the reasons why I really appreciate Trump and Kanye and Nick and anybody who's out there putting the truth as they see it is that's what has been lacking in the country. So that's the Trump's not backing down from telling the truth, for example, was so much more important to me than the wall or people said Operation Warp Speed, all those things. Ann Coulter once said some vulgar thing about he could perform abortions in the White House as long as he sticks with this immigration thing. That's almost how I feel. I don't support abortion, obviously, but that's almost how I feel about his just speaking and standing strong on the truth and setting a good example as a man. And that's what I would like to see more of. And I don't know if Kanye and Nick will turn out to be strong men like that. And honestly, we don't need leaders to follow. We need people. We need to tell the truth and stand on it. And whatever will be, will be. It's up to God what happens with the country.
I think if we follow the continuing path that the country is going through, we're going to fall, just as the Roman Empire did. The amount of degeneracy that we allow to exist in this country is a problem. We return to strong Christian moral values, and we need to actually start calling out the degeneracy and things like that. And unless we do that, this country is doomed. We need to fight back, and we need to do so with strong moral ethics and consistency in those ethics. We can't sit there and go, well, this person claims this, therefore we'll just overlook it. I think we should hold everyone to the same standards.
But I mean, I agree with both you guys. My thing is like, and like, this is not, I'm not like a black pill or anything. I tend to agree. I think you just kind of you have to give it up to God, because that's the only way not to be black pilled. But realistically, the corruption is pretty deep, at least anywhere above even at a local level, honestly. But
yeah,
and there's so much funding for everything that we really disagree with. I mean, and it's not only the funding, but it's like, it's kind of like there's so much grease on the skids, and I see money as a big part of that. It's like it's like even down to like the local level, like you can't, like, the taxes for home ownership are so high, or now your homeowner insurance will drop you for some BS reason, therefore your mortgage company will drop your mortgage. I mean, it's there's so many gamifications of things through the system overarching, and my thing is like, there's not really there's no way through the system that we're going to be able to save it, in my opinion. And that's, again, it's not a black pill. I think for me, it's just a recognition of how far along things are, right? And I think that's why focusing on the moral part is great, but you also have to understand, like, I'm not anti people of other colors or anything like that, but there's so much dilution of our worldview that it's going to be very hard to get anyone to agree, even at 50% of anything, right? Like, it's balkanization, I guess, is the best term. But
well, the way I look at it is, if we allow our culture to go down, then there is nothing left to save, because it is the morality of the country that keeps it together. There was once upon a time where we were proud to be American. We should continue to be proud to be American. But if the country is in shambles the way it is, if we are celebrating people who want to pretend that they're female when they're actually male and things like that, if that is what we are celebrating, there's nothing left. There's nothing left for it, and we should just let it fucking crumble and rebuild.
Nero, Jack, did you have anything you wanted to wrap this up on?
No, I mean, I could go pretty deep, but I'm distracted by family stuff. But it was a good debate, and I think it's something along these lines should be explored further, because I think it's going to be a very interesting next couple of years. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be something. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it very much.
I will say, if I can,
go ahead.
To what he said about what you guys said about the MK Ultra stuff, and that it could be a psyop. That's true. That we should leave that open, but I say we should not presume to know one way or the other. That's all.
Well, I think we should presume that if a person says that they conducted a psyop, that we believe them. That's what I think.
Fair enough.
So, like, if the guy says, I did this because I wanted to get revenge, and then he goes and he does it, like, what else do you want?
No, I mean I mean the MK Ultra stuff and how, and Nick Fuentes being still in the forefront as the alt-right. Maybe there's something behind that that's untoward. That all may be true. I'm not talking about Milo. I believe what Milo said.
Yeah, none of that's provable. But
yeah,
the Milo stuff I think is provable.
Right. Yeah.
Let's get to the super chats, guys. Thank you both very much for coming on tonight. Before we get to those super chats, remember you still have time to gift a membership. Tomorrow is part 3 of the Christmas special. You can catch AircraftSparky. We'll get his links down below. You can catch him either on comfy.stream, or he has several places that he streams to. I don't know which one even is his primary these days, but we'll get him down there. And then, of course, Hake. You can find him on the Hake Report. I've watched that show several times. Very, very good news show. So appreciate you guys both coming on. On to the super chats. Godzilla sends in $1.47 super chat. Says nothing. Appreciate that very much. Wicked Wally says cigarettes in a brick wall. Andrew, you're one laugh track away from having a stand-up set. Wicked Wally sends in another $5 super chat and says, I, for one, am extremely interested in how Sparky works on linking all of this together.
I see what you did there.
Dad joke. Terrible dad joke. But whatever, Permanent fixture. He ain't going anywhere. Whatever. Len Yen Chen sends in $3.67. Says, what good Lord Lair, or I'm sorry, Lord Goodhair is
Hake.
doing this woman stuff, aka debate again. It's pretend conversation that is just combat of vanity, pure mama drama mess. And he watched the whole thing. So what does that say about him?
He loves mama drama. He can't help it.
I guess so. Rashido sent in a $5 super chat and says Sparky needs to log off and go gossip in his mama's knitting circle.
Oh,
well,
it's cold.
Yeah,
sure.
I guess.
Coomer Catboy fan there.
Yeah. Yen Chen sends in $3.67 super chat. Says Merry Christmas, host nation. Andrew, may God guide you and your pretty wife into a world of giant robots and spaceships. Well, I hope not. We already have an automated McDonald's, which for some reason I feel like that's going to be a vast improvement. I don't think it'll ever catch on, but I wish it would, because it just sucks. Tim Zimlick sends in a $5 super chat and he says, Sparky, would you consider losing $500 million in order to speak the truth? An example of carrying your cross. How much money have you sacrificed?
I mean, that's a fair thing. I know my belief in this country. I gave a blank check to the government, deployed 15 different times throughout my career. Did not get it cash, luckily. So I mean, would I lose $500 million? Well, I'd have to make that first. That's never probably going to happen.
Don't speak doubt into your life.
Well, it just that money has never been anything that's really been my primary goal. I do what I do because I actually enjoy it. I'm one of those people who are blessed that my professional job has become a hobby. I teach people how to rebuild aircraft engines and troubleshoot and repair them. I think what I do is magic. I love it, but I'm blessed that way. But I sacrificed a lot of years with the U.S. military, so I think I do have the conviction that I would give up everything for the things that I believe in, and I believe in this country, and that's what I did. So is it equivalent to $500 million? No. $42.63 is the cost of a human body broken down to its basic elements.
And T-Bird the Third makes sure to say that I'm the PSYOP. not Kanye West. It's me. I am the psyop.
Andrew is based.
Somehow, I don't know how I'm the psyop, but somehow I am the psyop. All you have to do is read that chat and you'll know. What's interesting about it is I can't wait until all the dumb frog heckers all turn on Kanye West at the drop of a hat because their overlord tells them to. But whatever, then it'll be I'm some psyop for some other reason.
Isn't that a shame that people do turn on others so easily? Whether they're told to or not, just whether over a disagreement, and it's ridiculous.
Very, very quickly. There's no doubt that that's true. Lin Yin Chin sends in another $7.34. Says bias is not a sin. It is just a prerequisite for cognitive function of any sort. The effeminate guest is a haughty mess. People holding bias against other people are just being alive, not fiction, aka racist.
Which one is the effeminate guest?
I think he's referring to aircraft here.
Cool. who said that? It doesn't matter.
Lin Yen Chen, who also sends in another $7.34, says, slithering serpent of insecurity has Sparky flaring into flames of outrage and assiduous accusations like her father, the Devo, as JLP says. Intellectuals aren't men and serve only Satan and not Christ.
That's loving correction from Lin Yen Chin for you, AircraftSparky.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I don't think he understood your statement, Lin Yen Chin. You're too intellectual, is what he said. Intellectualism is not Christianity. It's not spirituality.
Yeah, but if that was so intellectual that AircraftSparky couldn't understand it, then is Lin Yen Chin serving Satan is the real question.
Could be. He's part Asian.
I've never claimed to be an intellectual either. So
Willie Powell sends in a $2 super chat. Says James Hake from the Hake Report is back. Nice.
Yeah, it's great to be back this week.
Tatiana sends in a $5 super chat. Says blessed nativity to everyone. Appreciate that $5 super chat. Mr. Miner sends in a $5 super chat. Says these two are the reason our politics are the way they are. Very nebulous. Doesn't really tell us that much, but fair enough.
Interesting.
M sent in a $20 super chat. Says it's been a while, boys. Kanye is a simp who fell for Hollywood royalty till it blew open his face, and now he's searching for relevance. It's all theater. Get married, live simple, have children, raise them in the faith. I don't think I disagree with a word that guy just said.
Based.
Perfectly honest with you. Whole bunch of Crucible members who came in. Many gifted memberships from Face Palmer. Dr. Crispy also renewed his. Thanks a bunch, guys. Really appreciate it very much. Mark sent in a $5.40 super chat. Says, Merry Christmas, Wilsons. Merry Christmas to you. Eric sends in a $5 super chat. Says, nothing. My favorite kind of super chat. Create Intention sends in $2. Says, Hake, explain why there's no free will, please. Oh, no, you're not one of those. You're not a Calvinist, are you, Hake?
I don't know if I'm a Calvinist or not. I remember reading and getting all upset about Calvinism versus Arminianism when I was reading Decapolis.com website. Not to be plugging other stuff, but it's a music Christian message board. And the guy Conrad from Goaty Hook was pushing for Christians to be serious, not lukewarm, and know about Calvinism versus Arminianism. So I read a lot about it in the Bible when I was in college. But I never read that we have free will, and I get that there is some, of course we have responsibility, but I don't see how we are free. We're either slaves of Satan or slaves of Christ. And I get that we err in different things, but I don't see that we have free will. And I don't read it in the Bible either. I get that he says, choose you this day, and I get that Adam and Eve did the wrong thing and all that, and he let them do that. So in you could call that a form of so-called free will, but I don't see it. I don't see it as being a free will. Yeah.
So if you fell down and hurt yourself on the staircase, you think that was predetermined?
Yeah, Satan caused me to be distracted and lose my footing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a whole thing for another time. Hey.
Nice.
Lin Yan Chin sends in another $7.34. He says generalization is what words exist to convey. This is why dialogue is required to specify exact intent of a speaker. Sparky is irrationally overreacting about generalization.
Okay. I mean, that's an opinion. I don't even think I was all that overreacting. I'm just it's the way I see things, the way I rationalize things.
M with the big $100 super chat. By the way, we appreciate that very much. When I was fighting in Iraq, I had an interpreter who told me he didn't trust us. I asked him why, and he told me that we didn't have families and tribes. Who were we? He didn't know. We could come from the best or the worst. He didn't know. I found a lot of wisdom in that.
I also had an Iraqi tell me once that we smelled like murder because of all the meat we eat. So,
well, I mean, he's saying the wisdom there is like from their perspective. What's
you're supposed to be tribal.
Well, what's your foundation that they're supposed to trust?
Yeah, that is a big part of their logic, and going over there, it really you see a difference in how people interpret the world. It's interesting.
Tim Zimlick sends in a $5 super chat. Says, Sparky, if I said Jews make the best bagels, would that be a problem? Since it's a generalization, why then is it honestly bad if it's unflattering?
So it's not really about if it's flattering or not. I just think if you're going to segregate people based on their race and give some type of thought process involved with that, I think you're barking up the wrong tree. It's more culture than it has anything to do with race.
Okay. Seraphim Goose sends in a $2 super chat. Says, Sparky, should porn be legal?
I'm a constitutionalist. It's considered speech, even though I don't agree with it. So yes.
I disagree,
Okay.
man. I don't think it's speech. That's vulgarity. Like speech is.
We see the same thing, Hake.
Yeah.
Since I look at the Constitution for the basis of the laws in America, our scholars, the people who are supposedly more learned than us on these, I'm trusting their interpretation of it.
No, don't trust scholars. Jesus
trust
didn't trust the scholars.
Jesus was a scholar.
I know, but he didn't. The scribes and the intellectuals.
They called him the rabbi.
I know, but he called out the scribes and the intellectuals a lot. They were wrong.
Yes, because there are dishonest scholars. There are such things as that. But
yeah. You think for yourself on whether it's speech. Anyway.
Godzilla, just want to say thank you for the 5 Crucible gifted memberships. Welcoming in a lot of people who I'm sure have been waiting to get one. Appreciate it very much. Hake, before you get the hell out of here and get on with your night and go off and have your wonderful show, why don't you shout yourself out one more time?
Well, it's thehakereport.com is my website. I started a Substack, guys. But I'm on right after the Jesse Lee Peterson show, which is 6 to 9 a.m. Pacific time, 9 to noon Eastern, 8 to 11 Central. And I'm right after him for a couple of hours. Every other week now, I am getting Joel Friday, who is mostly black but 30% white, so he has some sense. He's co-hosting with me every other Tuesday, so make sure you join and check it out. And I really appreciated and respect AircraftSparky talking with him, even though I do think he has some silly takes at times. I do respect him. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem at all. And AircraftSparky, go ahead.
Look, I'm AircraftSparky. You can find me on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and of course, Coffee.stream, all under the moniker of AircraftSparky. One word. Look, you don't have to agree with me, and that's completely fine. I think I wanted to come down to try to figure out the logic tree that Hake had, and I appreciate his point of view. I don't agree with it, but that's completely fine. That's one of the beautiful things about this country. We're allowed to have different opinions, and the fact that we can sit here and civilly discuss these things, I think that's a good thing. It's better than us screaming how we're going to do death threats and everything else to each other. I think that's a much better way. I've watched Hake. He is about the love. He wants people to do actions in love, and I think that's a great thing. I don't agree with every aspect, every prescription that he throws out, but it's a difference of opinion. It's a different point of view, and it helps me understand the world through his eyes, and I think that's a good thing. Just like I like to come over here to the Crucible, I like to hear the different opinions of all the debaters, and I like to hear Andrew's freaking rants. For Christ's sakes, trash talk extravaganzas are beautiful. You want to talk about a knitting circle? Oh my goodness, one of the best knitting circles ever is anytime when Andrew starts talking about his trash talk extravaganzas. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all come find me. And yeah, I'll see y'all later.
All right. I know that there was a caller waiting in the winds. Unfortunately, we're not able to get to you tonight, caller. Don't even know if I'm going to have power in the next 5 minutes because it's howling so hard outside.
Awesome.
Thank you guys, both of you, very much from all of us here at the Crucible to all of you out there in Crucible land, except the Groypers because you suck. Have a wonderful night.